Hello, bad start. Hello, and welcome back, people, to another video of Ashraf Talks Football. Back after a long time. I'm not even going to say I'll try to be a lot more regular because I keep saying that I don't live it up. So I'll just let the walk. I'll just try to walk the walk. But big up everyone. Make sure you hit the like button when you join in. If you're not subscribed, obviously subscribe, please. Um, Big up to Sean, the first in the house to comment. Big up, my bro. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Stay tuned, Sean. We are going to talk about Liverpool. We are going to talk about like the different transfers going on in the big clubs, who the favorites are, what will happen with some of the top six. And we'll do a quick preview, obviously, on the Community Shield that's to be played tomorrow. But yeah, back after a long time. Yes, indeed, Sean. Thank you so much. It is nice to be back. I keep dedicating like a day or two a week to try and do videos. I just don't get the time. Um, but I will try to be more regular. So I thought let me start before the season starts, um, so I can hopefully like see if I can be more consistent there. Let me just put this here. Okay, cool. But yeah, I think we can get right to it. So obviously the Premier League season is back next week. Arsenal obviously kicked the season off with a home game against Coventry on a Friday, which will be interesting to see. But I'll obviously go through all the clubs' transfer window, like the players they've bought, the players that are rumored to join. What's going to happen with these clubs? Where will they probably finish? I'll probably just stick to the top six. I won't go to obviously clubs like Villa and Newcastle and all. Big up, Aaron. Hope you're doing well, my bro. Yeah, I'll probably just stick to the top six and see how that goes. I think that's just a lot better. And obviously, if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to throw them. Um, Cool. I think we'll start with Spurs first to get them out of the way because I don't think we'd want to talk about Spurs for long. But um, look, they've done well so far. I'm actually going to bring up their transfer business up on the screen. Where is Spurs? Spurs. I mean, I already know who they bought, but just for ease, I guess. Yep. Cool. Sean, is that you, Sean? Yeah, it is. I'm assuming that's some sort of inside joke or a joke from a different channel. I'm not fully aware, but yeah, it's definitely Sean. The two Liverpool fans that I respect are in the comments. I like that. Ones with actual sense and talk logic. But yeah, look, I mean, we'll just start with Spurs, I guess, quickly. Obviously, they've been busy. A lot of people would say, no, I mean Hussam Sean. Oh, you mean the Sean who does his edits? Isn't it? Yeah, yeah, I think it is the same Sean. I always assumed Hussam was talking about this Sean. Not once did I think it could be a different Sean. So, yeah, I guess he just confirmed it is. So, yeah, big up to you, Sean. Big up. And nice, man. Makes Hussam is paying you well for this. But cool. Let me just open this up. I don't know why this is going all crazy. Yeah. Okay, so obviously we know who they've got. They've obviously not used to him not modded. Oh, you know what? Yeah, you know what? Sean has to be modded, to be fair. Sean is a G, man. Can't not mod him. That is just mad. Sean not being modded is just insane. Okay, let me just mod Sean first, and then I'll get right to Spurs. See, nobody wants to talk about Spurs. That's just how bad they are. Milan beat the Scum 4-2. Yeah, look, we'll discuss United as well. That'll be good. Big up, Abdi Mas. Big up, Abdi, bro. How you doing, my man? I hope you're doing well. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, but look, Spurs have been obviously quite busy in the window. I mean, they had to be after the last two seasons. Obviously, finishing 17th twice is just mental. No, the Charity Shield is tomorrow, Sean. So we will be previewing that as well quickly, and the players who could be available. Um, but yeah, look, it is they have been quite busy, Spurs, to be fair, and I think they have made very good signings. I mean, I think they've fixed a lot of problems that they've had to fix. So obviously they've got the midfield, which I think was a big gap. I know a lot of Spurs fans were trying to like big to praise or overhype the midfielders they had last season, with Bentancur and Pape Matisar and all that. And look, these guys are average or above average at best. um um One second, let me just put this here. Um, Tonali is an excellent signing. I would have loved Tonali at Arsenal as well. I'm glad we got Bruno. I think Bruno is the better midfielder, but Tonali would have been fantastic as well. So they've got a top quality midfielder there. Not a big fan of Matias Fernandez. I'm not saying he's bad or anything. I don't know if he's good or bad. I mean, the little I've seen of him, he seemed decent, but I do think he's getting a bit overhyped for that one season he's had, obviously last season when they even got relegated. So it's not like his season was that great that he managed to keep them up. But look, maybe he just needed a better environment. Obviously, sometimes there's only so much a certain good player can do. Um, so we'll see how Matheus Fernandes works with them. But I mean, obviously, the fact that he picked them over United was a big surprise for me. I thought United would be a no-brainer. I think he would have been a missing piece for Man United that we'll discuss in a bit, because I still think they need a DM. They need a someone who can break up play. Um, uh, Maybe they'll end up getting someone better, but we'll obviously we'll see how that works. So they've definitely solidified the midfield. Spurs, Kudus will be back, which is massive for them because he's a fantastic right winger. I think he's probably top 5 wingers in the league when he's playing and he's in form. Obviously not fit. Sorry, not injured. Um, so I think that's obviously going to be a big boost for them as well. Defensively, they made some really good signings. Obviously, losing Romero, their captain, could be a blow, but the way Spurs fans reacted, you would think that he didn't even care. Um, most of them wanted him out, but I think that's more because he disrespected the club and not because of his quality. Because from a quality perspective, I'm pretty sure they would have loved to keep him. Although he isn't, I did criticize him many times in the past. I said he is quite overhyped. He's aggressive in a bad way. You know how there are some center backs who are aggressive in the right way, where they're tough, they're difficult to get past, like Vidic, for example. This guy's aggressive in a stupid way. Well, he gets like red cards and gives away stupid fouls and penalties, like out of lack of control. Um, but then they went and replaced him with another Argentine defender in Senesi. They went and obviously got Van Heck, which is a good signing as well. Not a big fan of Robertson, but I guess brings experience. I'm not sure. I don't even think he'll be the starting left back. I think if Destiny Udogie is fit, he'll probably start left back. I am quite surprised they let Jet Spence go. I thought they did, especially for that kind of money that they let him go. It was like, what, 31.5 or some shit like that? It's crazy. Because even though he's a natural right back, but I think even as a left back, he could fit in well. He could do good defensive work. So I am a bit surprised they let him go and they're keeping Udogie, who I don't think is that great, to be fair. So I think, yeah, Robertson might get games if Udogie doesn't perform, but I guess if he performs, then Robertson is just there as experience. So they've done good work. I'm not a big fan of their keeper, Vicario. I do think they need to improve on their keeper, and obviously the biggest question mark on them would be their attack. Sean, this is what surprises me, man. Like Sean says, I would take Spence. I think you guys should have been all over that Spence deal. And I think they wouldn't have a problem selling to you guys. Maybe they would charge you a bit more because it's a Premier League club. They might have charged you like 40, 45 million. Even 50 million. I think you guys should have paid that if you got the opportunity, because obviously you have Frimpong, who's not really a right back. I think he's more of a wing back, Frimpong. And you don't play with a back 5. Jet Spence, I think for you would have been amazing. Would have been an amazing right back. And he would have been able to last you for a very long time as well. And if Iraola wants to play with a high line or press up and he needs defenders to run quickly back and counter, you would have had Araujo and Jet Spence. That's a speedy right side. You probably wouldn't have had any like speedy winger beat you with pace. So yeah, it is a bit surprising, honestly, but it is what it is. I mean, in the end, he's obviously gone now to Inter Milan, where I think he will have a good career. But yeah, look, I think Spurs moving from 17th to anywhere in the top 10 obviously is a massive jump, and should be looked at as a positive. Um, well, at least that's what some of their fans will say. I personally don't see it that way, because the reality is they finished 17th the last two seasons, and that probably is a reflection of where their team was. But you have to also take into context that they had the most injuries, I think, last season and the season before. Um, so if they finish 10th this coming season or ninth, they'll try to spin it as, oh, well, that's a massive improvement over the last two seasons. No, it's not. I mean, okay, technically it is, but given where your squad is and given how good your team is and the players you have, you should be minimum finishing sixth. Minimum, right? It's insane for you to finish outside the top six with the players you have, because there's no other team that has a better team than them, like outside the top six teams or the big six teams. So I think if they finish anything less than six or below sixth, I mean, it's a very bad. It's not very bad. It's a bad season. It shouldn't. We shouldn't just look at it as, oh, let's compare it to last season. You have to apply context, and the context is they've signed these top quality players. They have a top quality manager in De Zerbi, who I think is one of the best managers in the league. Uh, could even make an argument for him being top three managers in the league. Um, just based on his years of experience and the style of football he plays and how he's transformed some clubs like Brighton, like Marseille. He had them playing really good and challenging for a little while last season, um, and obviously like saving Spurs from relegation last season, which maybe not the most impressive because they should have stayed up and West Ham were quite bad anyways. But he's a top quality manager. So yeah, we'll see about Spurs. That's enough about. I don't want to keep talking about Spurs. I want to move to the other clubs, but. Yeah, look, I think I think they will finish sixth, to be honest, which will be a decent season because they'll be back to Europe, and it'll give them an opportunity to go again next summer and strengthen even more. But they have to get attackers because their attackers are so meaty outside Kudus, it's unbelievable. Um, on to the next team. Now, I want to see who did I mean, I remember who I predicted fifth, but I just want to be sure. Actually, no, sorry. I predicted Liverpool to finish sixth. I predicted Spurs to finish fifth. I hope Aaron and Sean don't go crazy about that. Honestly, I think you're two signings away from potentially challenging next season, and then one or two other internal things going right. The internal things that have to go right is Wirtz has to perform, Isak has to stay fit, and Iraola has to blend in immediately and handle the pressure of managing Liverpool. That's the internal stuff. If you do that well, then you need to buy two more players. I still think you need a DM, and I think you need a right winger more than a left winger, which is why I'm not that keen on you guys getting Barcola, to be honest. Like, I don't think it helps you. It does what you need. If you get a quality right winger and you get a quality DM, I think you could challenge for the league next season if the internal stuff works out, which is Wirtz, which is Isak, which is Iraola. Obviously, Van Dijk just playing at like 70% of his best. And obviously, Arojo, I guess, or Jeremy Jacke, whoever is going to be his centre back partner. One of them has to show up, of course. If that happens, I think you guys can definitely challenge. I don't think you'll have it to win the league, to be fair, but it's not impossible. But to be in the top three for me. Oh yes, and a right back. My bad, Ankor. Absolutely, that is an absolute must. You definitely need a right back. Just as I said, I was speaking about a Jet Spence move. I can't believe I forgot about that. I only have you finishing sixth now because I think Spurs will have that big boost of motivation. The new manager and the players and all that stuff. And I think they will probably be at a high, and then they'll be in the top three, top four for a little while, and then they'll drop eventually. And I think you guys will regress if you don't make the signings you have to make, which is why I'm saying sixth right now for you, just given where you are today. But I don't believe you will be there by the end of the transfer window. I believe you will sign a few more players, but they have to be the right players. Like if you got Arojo to play him as a right back, that's terrible. I'm telling you right now, because he's got the pace to cover back, but he's going to give you nothing going forward. And plus, he's quite injury prone. He's also very, very rash. So in a one-on-one situation, he could be a massive liability if he goes up against like I don't know, a Doku or I don't know, even Eze if he plays left wing for us, or if he goes up against Cunha at United or someone like that. I think he will really struggle. Or even Rogers, even though I don't rate Rogers as a left winger, but yeah. Sean's like, I have a third, but could easily come fifth. Yeah, I hear you. And Aaron says we need 3 players. Yeah, three is right because I forgot about the right back. Thank you, Uncle, for reminding me. You need a right back, you need a DM, and you need a right winger. Honestly, if you don't get Barcola and you just get a right winger, that's enough. And there are names out there. It's not like there aren't right wingers available. Like obviously, it's your scout's job to go and find right wingers that can play there, right? But even us who just watch the Premier League, we don't scout and we don't watch all the other leagues. We probably can name a few right wingers who can do a very good job there. I'll give you some examples. So you've got Brahim Diaz at Madrid, who probably won't start a lot of games anymore, especially now with Diomande there. That would be an amazing signing for you to play him right wing. He's a left-footed player who can play right wing. He can also play the 10 if you need him to, but he's excellent on the right wing. You've got Endrick, also at Real Madrid, who's a striker but can also play right wing. So that fixes two issues. If you have Isak injured, you can play him in the middle, obviously, since Ekitike is out for a long time. Or you can play him right wing where he's excellent. He's got pace, he's got skills, he's got good passing on the right wing. He can cross and he can shoot and finish. So that's another name. I'll give you another one, by the way, which as an Arsenal fan, I don't want to name him, but because I don't want to lose him. But it seems like we are going to lose him anyways, and I don't mind him going to Liverpool, even though he'll be a rival for. Actually, I probably don't want him to go to Liverpool because I think he will turn out to be really good. Big up, Olu, my bro. Big up. Ethan Waneri. I don't want to hear this garbage that some Arsenal fans say about, oh, he's not a winger, he's a 10, he's a 10, he's a 10. Bro, I don't want to hear that garbage, honestly. I'm sick and tired of that shit because, okay, he might be a 10 by default, but he did a very, very good job for us, the right wing. For those of you who watched the Kura pod yesterday, I was doing a comparison between him when he played right wing for us 2 seasons ago versus the bum Matt Wake that played right wing for us last season. And Waneri clears him in everything. Waneri, as a right winger, yes, he won't track back as much. He's not known for that. But he's excellent at dribbling. He's very good at shooting. He's very good he's brave enough that he runs and takes on his man. He's got a great shot on him. He's got an amazing curl from outside the box. He can link up well. He can take on his fullback. And he's 18 or 19, so he's only going to keep developing and growing. So if you don't want to spend and splash the cash and go get someone who's like 100 million, because maybe there isn't anyone available like that, okay, Waneri is a very, very strong option that gives you quality on the right wing. And as I said, you have Brahim Diaz, you have Endrick, all who will be out of favor at Madrid. And if you go bid for them right now, Madrid need money. They're trying to raise money so they can get some players. You would be excellent at. You would come in like Santa for them, by offering them like 40, 50, 60 million for Brahim Diaz or Endrick, whoever. So I just think it's crazy that you're not going for a right winger. I mean, a left-footed right winger. Even Mbaye, by the way, because I know Sean mentioned Barcola and Mbaye, I think really helps our squad. Mbaye is not a right winger. I know he plays right wing for PSG, but that's because they have like a million left wingers. But he's a right-footed winger. A right-footed winger should mainly play on the left, especially when he's got good dribbling skills. Mbaye is a very good dribbler. You want him on the left where he can cut in his stronger foot and do dangerous work. I watch PSG a lot. Mbaye on the right is like Frimpong at Leverkusen. He will run down the flag. He will square a nice ball in. That's not going to work in the Premier League, I'm telling you. And Barcola isn't a right winger either. He's a pure left winger. He wants to do left wing stuff, which is cut in on his stronger foot, go on the outside. He's not a right winger at all. So you're if you bring him to play him right wing, you're limiting him like crazy. You already have Munoz on the left. You have Gakpo, who I'm assuming you're planning to sell. You have who you can also play as a backup striker, by the way, as well, as you mentioned, Sean. You have Rio and Gomoa as well. You don't need a left winger. I think you guys are done. And I'm not even mentioning Chiesa, who I'm assuming you're trying to offload. Get a right winger. I've just given you 3 names, and I'm assuming there are at least 10, 15 others if you actually go and scout. I genuinely find it baffling that you're not strongly in for some of these names that I've just mentioned, who are all top quality players. Apparently, Areola likes right-footed right wingers. Not sure how true that is, or at least one winger. But then again, you say that, but he played Ryan on the right wing, Aaron. And Ryan is a left-footed right winger. He played Ryan on the right. He played Krupi behind Evan Nilsson, and he played Semenyo on the left. So it's clearly not the case. And when Semenyo played right wing some games, Semenyo is an ambipedalist. So he can play right and left because he can cut in with his right and left foot. So you need, like, look, and honestly, guys, I've had this argument before with many others. I cannot think of any elite winger of the last 10 to 15 years or 20 years since football has changed, since football changed from that 4-4-2 formation to 4-3-3. I cannot think of any elite winger that played on the wrong wing, meaning right foot that played on the right wing or left foot that played on the left wing. I cannot think of any. If you name the top 10, 15 wingers in the world right now for the last 10, 15 years, Ronaldinho, Neymar, Ribery, Robin, Hazard, Bale, even Cristiano later. I'm not counting Cristiano and Messi, but they obviously played on the right wing. Mane, Mane, you say right wing, but his best time for you guys was on the left. He started off on the right, but he became a legend of the Premier League and of Liverpool when he played on the left, and Salah came on the right. Salah is obviously another example. You need a top quality left winger, a right winger, and there are players who can become that, like Waneri, who I definitely don't want to lose, but I'd rather lose him to a top club than see his career go down the drain. Like Endrick, like Brahim Diaz, as I said, who I think is ready to perform right now for you. Yes, he doesn't have that pace, but then if you have, then you can go get Barcola by all means. Then now you have pace on the left, you have Isak top quality in the middle, and you don't have pace on the right, but Brahim Diaz can take on his man all the time. So yeah, like it is crazy. I do respect Liverpool as a club. I think I love the way that Liverpool runs their model, the way they obviously sometimes you do money pinch, but obviously last summer you definitely did not money pinch, and your owners deserve credit for that. It didn't work out, but that's not because of lack of initiative and hunger. But you are dropping the ball massively this summer. You're dropping the ball massively, and you have time. You have 2-3 weeks to amend it, obviously. But yeah, you need to move quick before you are scrambling for some leftovers. Big up, Aaron. Kev. Big up, Kev. Thanks for joining, my bro. True, but Mane right wing was really good. Just Salah forced him left wing. Yeah, but he was good. But I don't think he was elite. Like if he continued right wing for the rest of his Liverpool career, he would never be elite. Now for me, Mane is an elite winger. Mane, if I look back at him, he's probably top 5 wingers in the Premier League. In Premier League history for me. If I had to think about it, is Salah, Cristiano Ronaldo, Hazard. I'm not counting Henry as a striker, obviously. I'd probably put Mane there. I'd probably put Mane in that conversation. Obviously, you can count Bale. There's Giggs, of course, Beckham. But I do think I don't think Giggs. Giggs was amazing, but I don't think he's above some of these guys. Yeah, and Bale played on the right later. Bale started on the left as a left back, then moved to left wing, and then his best ever moments came when he moved to the right, when he exploded, and then he had that one season with Spurs, his last season, 2012, 2013. He won a Player of the Year, and then immediately went to what's his name? To Real Madrid and shined there. Fair point. Maybe Rafinha at left wing last season. Not last season, you mean the season before that? Yeah, where he had 50 GA. Fair enough. Rafinha isn't. But then again, Rafinha only did it one season. So I can't say he's an elite winger from that one season. But Rafinha is a good example. Marco, 100%. Big up Marco, by the way. Rafinha is a good example. The thing with Rafinha is Barca don't play that kind of style. Barca plays such an open football, such an open style, that Rafinha doesn't have to do winger stuff on the left wing. The stuff he does on the left wing is just run inside and shoot, run inside and cross. He does that, and he does that to a brilliant level, right? Because of the way Barca play. If let's say Rafinha came to Arsenal and had to play on the left wing, he would flop. If he went to Liverpool and had to play left wing, he'd flop. The same with all the other big clubs. He does it at Barca. It might even work at, say, Bayern, for example, or maybe even PSG. Like Dubé plays right wing for PSG a lot of times, right? Even though he's right-footed. But that works for these teams because they play such expansive football that you just keep attacking. You don't have to. You're not facing a lot of low blocks because you open up the game with the way you play. But yeah, look. Oh, Rafinha, by the way, is an example actually for Liverpool. You can get Rafinha to play him right wing. Although I don't think you'll be able to pry him away from Barcelona, to be fair. Because now that they've lost Ferran Torres, and they lost Lewandowski, I have a feeling they might plan to play him striker. They might play Gordon left, play Rafinha up top, play Yamal on the right, and then they'll play a midfield of Rodri, Pedri, and Ferman Lopez. I think they might end up doing that. But some people said, oh, they'll play Gordon up top. I don't see that happening. I think they'll still keep Gordon on the left. But I wouldn't be surprised either way. Despite how bad Slot was last season, did you at any time think some of their players are just not as good as we've been told? I mean, Isak is definitely top quality because we've seen him for 3 seasons at Newcastle, enough to say that he is at that level. Look, I used to watch the Bundesliga religiously. Obviously, I didn't watch it last season because they took it away from the channel I had here, which is BN Sports, and they gave the rights to some other broadcaster. But those seasons I watched him play at Leverkusen, he was performing at an elite level. He was world class in his performances. Clearly, he couldn't translate that to the Premier League because he probably couldn't handle the pace of the league, the physicality of the league. Now he has this season to show that that was just an adaptation period, or he's a certified Premier League flop, and he will have to leave 100%. Isak is definitely not a flop. I think he will have an amazing season. Ekitike had an amazing season, obviously, until he got the injury. Frimpong, I think, just turned out to be a bad buy. I think Frimpong, you could tell from the beginning, was not going to be that great because he's a wing back. Even at Leverkusen, he only played as a wing back. Everyone knew defensively in a back four, he's shocking, and he's not a right winger either. So unless you switch to a back five, Frimpong is not the guy. Honestly. So you will have to eventually offload Frimpong. Obviously, you won't be able to do it this summer, maybe next summer, but you need a right back ASAP. I think Slot had a bad season, but I'm in the minority. I think he's a really good coach. I was fine with him going or staying by the end of the season. Look, that's a fair point, Sean, but let me say this. While I do think that he's obviously not a bad coach, because you don't win the league with Feyenoord and come close to winning it with, I think, Alkmaar, obviously until COVID happened, and then you end up winning it in your first season with Liverpool, and then be a bad coach. He's definitely not a bad coach. I still think he had flaws in his managerial tactics that put you guys at a massive disadvantage, in my opinion. Yes, some players underperformed tremendously. I think the drop from Salah and Van Dijk was played a big factor in why you guys couldn't challenge last season and why you dropped off tremendously. But once he saw that happening, he couldn't adapt quick enough. And I'm not even saying adapt to the point where you win the league, but at least comfortably finish in the top three. Then we can say, you know what? Salah dropped off tremendously, not Slot's fault. Van Dijk also clearly was slowing down, not his fault. Fair enough. Isak got injured. Ekitike later got injured. Wirtz didn't work out, not his fault. Fair enough. But I don't think he adapted well, like with his midfielders, with his choice of fullbacks. I'm pretty sure Frimpong was something he pushed for because he's Dutch, probably. I don't know. He's a good coach, I guess, but he's not. He's definitely not someone I think you guys could have continued with. And I think you guys upgraded for sure with Iraola, because Iraola has shown with the work he's done at Bournemouth that he can play really good attacking football, and I think he can handle the pressure for sure. Slot was good in his first season. It's quite amazing what happened last season. I think his true identity was too pragmatic and relied on players winning one-on-one duels. When it doesn't work, it's boring and slow. Yeah, 100%, which meant he needed to refresh some of the midfielders. I think McAllister also didn't look that good last season. Looked like he had freaking heavy legs. Szoboszlai was the only midfielder really working and trying. Gravenberch started the season quite well and then died off. And again, he's not a DM. Honestly, Gravenberch would do an amazing job as a centre mid. I don't think he'd do a good job as a DM, in my opinion. Not in the long run, at least. So you do need to buy a DM 100%. But anyways, look, yeah, that's it for me with Liverpool. As I said, I do think that you will end up finishing sixth as things stand now. But I will happily change my mind if you end up making the right signing. So you have to get a right winger, you have to get a right back, and you have to get a DM. Center backs, look, you've made your signings now, so you have to stick with it. I don't think Araujo's the signing that you needed, but it is what it is. You've signed him now, so you have to hope that he works out. And I remember like 5 years ago, he was in the conversation with Saliba as the best young center backs in the world, and it looked like he was going to have an even better career than Saliba, and it died off so bad. But yeah, let's see what happens there. On to the next team. Now I had United finishing fourth, which honestly wouldn't be a bad season, right? Just given where they were um, the season before last and the season before that when they finished eighth or ninth. Um, Obviously, finishing fourth this season would mean there's stability, right? It means there's maybe not progression because they'll say they finished third last season, but I think it is a good place to. It is probably progression when you consider the fact that they are also playing Champions League this season, and you would assume they'd go a bit further in the League Cup and the FA Cup versus getting knocked out in the first game last season. Um, but yeah, I have them finishing fourth because I do think. Look, I'm going to say the pros and cons, right? I think the cons for them. I'll start with the cons. I'll start with the negative just to get that out of the way. I think that obviously playing Champions League football, playing 2-3 games a week this time versus last season where they had to sometimes wait for 2-3 weeks to play their next game. I think that will be quite challenging. That will prove to be difficult. Maybe Carrick will be a very good coach and he'll actually adapt really well, but we don't know that yet because the reality is when he took over United last season, there was obviously pressure, but it wasn't that high level of a pressure versus what he's going to face this season. Because when he took over last season, the reality is they were like, I don't know where when he took them over. I think they were probably in the top half, but they were so deep in the gutter that all he had to do was stabilize the ship and get these players to be happy again and to want to enjoy playing for Man United, which he did an excellent job at. Now he's getting into a season where United fans themselves are putting pressure directly or indirectly by saying they expect to challenge for the league. And some of them even said they think they might win the league this season. And I think that's putting unnecessary. Look, if that's their honest opinion and their honest prediction, fair enough. But I think that puts unnecessary pressure on a team that I don't think is ready for that kind of pressure yet. Um, um, and another con is that, look, they've made good signings, which we'll discuss in a bit now. But I do think they still have big gaps. Like I think they need a DM. They are linked with a few, and they obviously are they were talking to Manu Kone from Roma. Obviously, I think they clearly wanted Tchouaméni, and I think if Rodri went to Real Madrid, I think Tchouaméni might have ended up leaving Real Madrid, and I think United would have probably been his best destination. And it probably would have made the most sense. Ram with a big comment, but I'll come to it, Ram. Just one sec. I think Tchouaméni could have considered there. I think you can still get Camavinga, even though he's a DM actually, in my opinion. I don't think he's a center mid. I think he's better as a DM. He's good at destroying the play and he keeps the ball well when he receives it from the center backs. I don't know why you guys are not all over that deal. Maybe it's because Camavinga is not really trying to leave and he's trying to figure out a way to stay. But yeah, you definitely need a DM, and I think you haven't got that yet. You obviously will think your attack is fantastic, and look, your attack is decent, but I don't think you have good depth in your attack. Like, let's say you start with Mbomo, Diallo, and Cunha, which is a decent front three, and obviously Bruno behind them, who's the best 10 in the league. You don't have good depth. I don't rate Sesko that high, but fine, as backup, maybe that's not bad. But outside that, you don't have anyone else I look at and say, okay, this guy can come play in the wings and he'll give them a good output. Like Dorgu for me is not really a winger. I think he's more of a wing back. Xerxes, I'm pretty sure you guys are trying to get rid of because he's not that level. Now, some of you might say Rashford. Maybe as the backup, Rashford would be okay. But look, there's a reason why you wanted to get rid of him before. There's a reason why Villa didn't want to sign him. There's a reason why Barca didn't want to keep him. You guys, like a lot of you guys will call me Barca Glazer because I watch almost every Barca game. He wasn't that good for Barca. Yes, he's had some goals, some assists here and there, even though his numbers weren't that great, by the way. But I promise you, as someone who watches Barca week in, week out, he wasn't pulling trees. Like you would see a lot of times the way some of these Barca players were playing under pressure, the intelligence on the ball, the right decisions here and there. And then you had this meep merchant on the left who would get the ball and just run, try to cut, run, try to push the ball and go past the fullback and then lose it like an idiot. Like, remember that video where Ferdinand was telling the story about when they played the Champions League final in 2011 and Busquets was killing them, and the Busquets basically came to him and said, "You Vidic, boom, 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 boom." Like, as if he's telling them, you guys just play like aggressive, like with no brains. Like, you don't know how to like just play composed and play smart football. That's exactly what Rashford is doing. It's like he was watching 10 footballers play at such a high intelligent level, like Spain do in the World Cup, like Spain were doing in the World Cup. And then you see this one donkey getting the ball and running like a madman, one dimensional. Exactly, Aaron. He was playing one dimensional. Um, I think that's a big reason why they didn't sign him. Which for me is a bit surprising that with that logic they went for Gordon, who I don't think is much better. But they probably saw something in him when they played against him in the Champions League, or maybe they scouted him and they saw something else. I don't know. Maybe, as Sean said earlier, they might plan to play him as a striker. I'm not sure, but um, I don't think Rashford is it for you, honestly. So you do need better attacking depth. And defensively, I think you guys have big gaps. Honestly, I don't like your right backs. I'm half Moroccan. I rate Mazraoui, but he's not that great of a right back in my opinion. He's decent cover for sure, but if he's just starter week in week out, I don't think that's good. Or if it's Dallo, for example, I don't think he's that good either. Big up Inodes. If you Inodes will be coming to Chelsea next, by the way. If we're talking about like your left backs, I saw a lot of tweets today after you played AC Milan where people were saying Luke Shaw was not great and you need to get rid of him. Honestly, he's been past his sell by date for so long. Maybe if Dorgu can do a decent job defensively, then maybe that's your left back and you're fine. And Luke Shaw can be a backup, but he definitely should not be starting. Yeah, okay, fair enough, Ram. So I'll take your word for it because I didn't watch the game, but I was seeing my timeline. Many people were saying Luke Shaw's diabolical, and he's not that left back for you anymore. You need to move past him. And then you've got your centre backs. Now, I like Lisandro Martinez, but obviously he's not fit enough. Lenny Yoro, I think, is still young. Still questions on him. Heaven is also young. Still questions on how he's going to play. De Ligt for me is decent, but sometimes he's a bit rash, so I don't know. I still think there are question marks there. So, and your midfield is a bit lightweight. Honestly, that's the last part. I'm going to go to the pros for United now. But just before that, your midfield is lightweight. I like Tielemans. I like obviously Kobe Menu and Bruno Fernandes, but I do think it's lightweight. I think if you play against a midfield like Arsenal, I think we get the better of you. I think a midfield of City probably gets the better of you. I think you go to the Champions League and you play some of these decent teams, their midfields will probably be better. Or at least will do well. I think your lightweight midfield works if all three were elite ball players. Like, I mean, PSG or Barcelona level. And your players are not that elite level. They're good, but they're not elite level. But enough with the cons. On the pros, I love the signing of Tielemans. I think that's probably the signing of the summer. Given the money, the value you got, the money you spent to get a player like that. I do think Bruno is better, but slightly better. But value for money, I think you guys got an excellent deal. Maybe a better deal. Who knows? Obviously, look, I said before I'm not that big of a fan of Andre Santos. But Andre Santos as a backup, I think would be decent. I don't think he's coming as a backup, honestly. I think your starting midfield will eventually be Santos, Tielemans, or Menu, and then Bruno. Because I don't think you'll play Menu and Tielemans. Because neither one of them is a DM. And if you do that, I think you'll be exposed a lot more. At least Santos is more of a natural DM. I do think Tielemans is the right fit for them, Sean. I really do. I think as a sentiment, not as a DM. If they play him as a DM, I think that's bad. But if they get Manu Kone and they play him, Tielemans, and Bruno, I think that's an amazing midfield. I think that's probably up there with like, I think our midfield is the best midfield in the league. I'll come to that soon. But if Rodri leaves, I think that's the second best midfield in the league. If they get Kone, obviously. Because that's the best 10 in the league. It's a very top quality DM and a top quality 8. With barely any weakness, because everyone can do their role to a very high level, not decent, to a very high level. So it depends. And then having Santos and Kobe Menu as well as rotation, excellent. Honestly, like, I can't even hate on it. And if you get a left winger, Cunha becomes an option for the 10 as well. So you do have good signings there. Obviously, your keeper is really good. I do think you have some decent centre backs, but I do think you need to buy at least one top quality centre back, and then you can rotate him or have one of the others partner with him. And obviously in Mbomo, I think Diallo as a right winger is quite good. I know his numbers were not great last season, but the numbers the season before were amazing. So maybe last season was just a blip and he could come back to that. And if Sesko is as good as some of United fans say, then you don't even have to worry about Diallo being the starter, because then Bumo becomes a starter on the right and Sesko becomes your starter up top. And then Diallo and Diallo and Bumo can battle it out for the right wing, which means you still need a left winger. Um, Santos left the pitch. We conceded 3 goals. Oh, okay. Fairs. Fair. So I guess he was doing a decent job at protecting that back line. Kev says it'll depend on the game situations, home, away, opponent we're facing, etc. Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point, honestly, Kev. Look, honestly, in the Premier League, because we don't have the luxury that PSG or Bayern have in their leagues, right? You have to rotate your players as much as you can, but it's not easy to do it like these teams do. Because if you're challenging for a league or top four, you have to be strong in almost every game week, including when you're playing against relegation teams or relegation favorite teams, because even the teams that look like they're gonna get relegated can beat you home or away if you're not on it. Unlike unlike the Bundesliga, um, where obviously Bayern and PSG can just afford to have their starting 11 players only start like half the league games, which is a massive luxury they have. And that's why you need to have such a strong bench that when you do rotate in the league or the Champions League, you're not dropping off in quality as much. So, for example, if you have Manu Kone, let's say you sign him, for example, Manu Kone to Santos, I think is a drop off, but it's not a drop off you cannot live without. Tielemans to Kobe Menu or Kobe Menu to Tielemans, whoever is your starter, is not a drop off you cannot live without. It's still good. Bruno to Cunha is definitely a drop off, but you can survive one game. And to be honest, Bruno is quite fit and he's usually there available most of the time. So maybe you don't have to rotate him in the Premier League or the Champions League. Just bench him in the League Cup and the FA Cup, at least in the starting few rounds. So we have to have very, very good squad depth as Premier League clubs. Otherwise, we're in big trouble. So United still have work to do. I think you're ahead of obviously Spurs and Liverpool because I think you do have a better overall, more stable team and less. I think you have as many question marks as Liverpool. I'm not gonna lie. It's just that I think Liverpool's question marks are more catastrophic if they don't address them versus yours. I think you're right now with the current team you have, you still can get top four, but you'll have to battle for it. Whereas Liverpool, I think with their current team, will not make top four. Could make top five for sure, which is enough to get Champions League. But yeah, it's still obviously far away from where they should be, just given that they won the league 2 seasons ago. Our front four cannot hold ball consistently. That's our main problem. Yeah, I mean, Bruno does not work in a possession-based team. If you have Bruno and you are looking at him and say, oh, he's the best 10 in the league, which he is, and he's the best creator, build the team around him and use him the way he should be used, which is counterattacks, quick movement, take risks. You don't have to keep possession that much because he's not that kind of player. If he is going to be that kind of player, or you are going to be that kind of team, or you want to keep a lot of possession, then you have to keep him as high up the pitch as he has to possibly be. So that he lets Tielemans and Menu or Santos or let's say Kone, if you get him, or whichever DM you get, to actually do their job and help keep possession and build slowly, and just let him be the final third player. Otherwise, it will cause you a lot of problems. But if you have Bruno in your team and you want to use him to his best, you have to attack. You have to be quick in the attack, in their transition. United weren't serious in the second half. Oh, okay. I didn't watch the game, so fair enough. Fair enough. I honestly, guys, I would not take anything from preseason except for player fitness. So player fitness, if a player doesn't look fit enough, that for me would be concerning for sure. But positional awareness, some blunder mistakes, these usually don't carry to the actual season, especially when you have everyone back. Because some players sometimes when they see that they're playing with youngsters and players who they're never going to play with in the season, they also don't up their level to that quality because they don't want to get injured. So even if you got slapped by AC Milan today, I wouldn't take much from it. Amorim sleeping peacefully tonight, I guess. He'll have a lot of work to do with AC Milan this season. Cunha will start. Mount is the Bruno backup. That's a big drop off. Yeah. Bruno to Mount is not just a drop off. It's suicide, honestly. People are sleeping on Liverpool. No way Spurs is ahead. Yeah, I think it's close between them. Obviously, logically, you would probably want to put Liverpool ahead of Spurs. I only put Spurs ahead of Liverpool because I think Liverpool in terms of quality and the team they have is better overall. But I think the reason why Spurs could go ahead of them is just the mentality. I don't think Spurs have any mentality, by the way. So it's crazy for me to use that word. But let me explain. I think Liverpool will be in the dumps because Liverpool's expectations are here. And if they're not here in performance, if they're performing here, I think that will immediately lead to a drop off even lower. Whereas Spurs, their level might be here. So if they are overperforming at some point, they will be psyched up and they will actually play to that kind of level. And they have an experienced manager and some decent experienced players who can get them to last longer than what they did um, a couple of seasons ago when they started really well with Ange. And that season they finished fifth anyway, so they could probably replicate that. I actually disagree, but opinions, yeah, fair enough, Kev. Look, as I said, you could have some signings that will change everything. Maybe you don't even make signings and you end up performing. I wouldn't rule that out because um, Carrick will have to really show up though. Carrick will have to really be that manager that some United fans hype to be. So, and he could be. Right now, I'm not. No one can logically say Carrick is actually not good and he's just overhyped because you don't know. You're just lying. But nobody can say guaranteed Carrick is top quality because you also don't know because it could also be a new manager bounce like what we saw with Ole. So no one knows either side. This season will show us a lot right now, obviously. Cool. Moving on to the next team, which is Chelsea. That's who I have finishing third. I think they have done really decent business so far. Not all of them. I think some I still have question marks on, but we'll start with obviously the big money signing, Rogers. You guys know me, like I am not that kind of salty person. I'll praise teams, I'll praise other rivals. I don't care. And you know I don't make comments just out of like saltiness. I promise you, wallahi, and you guys have been watching obviously the Kura Pod or Foodie Judgmo and all. You'll know I've said this before when we were linked with Rogers and it looked like we were gonna get him. I didn't want Rogers as a left winger. I didn't think he'd be good for us because for me he's more of a 10 as a left winger. I think Eze is better than him as a left winger. So I didn't understand that signing. And you saw, I don't know if you guys watched the Kura Pod episode where I had a big argument with Saad and I showed him the stats to show that Eze is a better left winger. So I don't think he would have worked for us. But for Chelsea, if he's going to play the 10, which I'm assuming he will because I think they'll play the 3-4-3. So they'll essentially play with 2 10s in him and Palmer. Yeah, exactly, Marco. So you know, Marco, I'm not lying. I said I don't want him as a left winger. I said I would take him as a 10, 100%. But for Chelsea, I think he'd be fantastic. I think he would do a really good job there. I don't like Lacroix that much as a defender. I think in a back five he's okay. He's decent. I think for them he'll do decent in a back five. But if they ever switch to a back four, I think he could be a calamity. So they have to make sure they play a back five and protect him. Depends how Levi Colwill will come back. Obviously, I find a lot of Chelsea fans overrating him like crazy. Like, oh my God, Levi. I saw someone can't remember which show where someone said Levi Colwill back for Chelsea is very, very, very massive. It's massive. I was like, whoa. Why are we talking like he's like prime Van Dijk or something? Like he's a good defender for sure. But I don't know if he'll be that good that he can change their fortunes. I think a centre back that comes with experience, who's like 29, 30, and he's top quality, I think that will be a big difference for them. But I still have them finishing third for a couple of reasons. One is obviously they're not playing any other competition this season outside the Premier League and the 2 domestic cups. So they have is it because of Dawson, Ashraf? What do you mean? No, bro, if you guys play Dawson this season, you guys are cooked, honestly. I think 1 game a week is obviously massive for Chelsea because it'll allow them to just focus on the league and perform a lot better. I don't think it'll be to the point where you could win the league because I still think you need some time. Xabi Alonso is going to need some time. The players are going to need some experience as well to actually challenge first before they eventually win it. So I think the 1 game a week will help you. I do think you have quite a decent team. Lavia, if he can stay fit, is a good backup to have. I don't know what's going to happen with Enzo, to be honest. If you keep him, I think that's good because you'll have Caicedo and Enzo in the middle and then Palmer and Rogers ahead of them, obviously with the wing backs, who I'm assuming will be Palestra and the new guy Chavarro, whoever you got. Um, Losing Kukurea is big for sure. Um, but I think you guys will adapt. You still need a keeper, to be honest. Like you need a keeper. I like the fact that you got Welbeck as backup for Joao Pedro. I think you should keep Nico Jackson. I think he's also a good backup as well. And if you ever switch to a 4-3-3, he can also play on the wing. Um, so I think that's decent there. You obviously got rid of Garnacho, which is I guess a good net positive for you. Esteva will be back from injury, so I think he will also give you a lot of headache, selection headache, which is good. Um, but yeah, you need a keeper. I think you need. I do think you need another quality centre back because right now I only think you have. I think you have Colwell, who's decent. I think you have Lacroix, who's good in a back five, and that's pretty much it. I don't rate your other centre backs unless you play Reece James there. Reece James in a back five, I think, will be quite good. But then you need backups then, right? If you're playing a back five, you need at least two quality centre backs. Um, so yeah, look, honestly, I don't have that much explanation on Chelsea outside these two reasons. But obviously, there's good enough reasons for you to finish ahead of United, Spurs, and Liverpool. As things stand right now, I think we finish above Spurs no matter what Spurs do from here till the end of the window, even if they get a quality striker. But to finish above United and Liverpool, as things stand, I think you will, but depends on what they do as well. Ash, do you see any club gate crashing the top five? Yeah, of course. Look, Villa can. They lost Rogers, they lost Tielemans, which is massive. So now it depends on how well this Majo kid plays for them, how well Manzambi plays for them. But the thing is, both are quite young, so maybe they won't get crashed. So maybe yeah, I take that back. They probably won't. Outside that, look, I don't think Sunderland will have that same kind of season. I think they'll probably drop to the second half, the bottom half of the table because they're playing in Europe. I think Palace will probably struggle, so I don't think they could do it. Brentford is in Europe. I think the teams that are in Europe that are not usually there, like your Brightons and Brentfords and Bournemouths and Sunderlands, I do think they'll struggle. I think some of them will make top half because someone has to, but I don't think they will crash the top. I think this could be the first season in maybe a few years. I can't remember the last time where the top six will be the big six, the usual big six. I don't have anyone else. Like Newcastle definitely will not be there. Villa, I think, could knock the door if those two kids play to that level and if they make some other decent signings. But then they might even lose Konza, to be fair, who's trying to come to Arsenal. So if they do that, they're losing another big player. And I don't know how good Emery is going to adapt. So yeah, right now I don't see it. Right now I don't see it. But you know what? The first 3-4 games, maybe Forest, by the way. Maybe Forest. They've got Glasner. They signed Diomande. Obviously, Morgan Gibbs-White is a very good player. They lost Elliot Anderson, but I don't think it'll be that much of a disaster. I think they'll eventually be okay. They did sign someone. I can't remember who. Let me check. Who did they sign? They signed a midfielder. If anyone knows, tell me in the comments. But I'm pretty sure they signed a midfielder. Where is Nottingham Forest? Yeah, there you go. I'm just trying to remember who do they have. So this is their team. They've got obviously Victor, the goalkeeper. They've got Sells. They've got they've got Steven Bender, who joined from Fulham. They've got Diomande, who joined from Sporting. We already know that. Who's the midfielder they got, man? Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they didn't get. Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they got Schlager. Yes, they got Schlager from Leipzig. That's a decent signing. Obviously, they've got James McAtee, who used to play at City. They've got Ndoye, who's okay. Hutchinson is okay. They signed Callum Wendo from Frankfurt. That's not bad. Obviously, Tayo Iwoni, I saw he's leaving, so he's not going to be there anymore. Ola Aina is a good right back. They've got Nico Williams, who's decent left back. They signed a centre back in Bindon from Sheffield. Obviously, they've got Diomande. They also got Bender, the goalkeeper from Fulham, who I don't even think will start for them, to be honest. They only signed him for his market value is like 1 million. It's crazy. Sean, did Hussam get married today? Yeah. By the way, I think Hussam is getting married today or tomorrow. I don't remember. I think maybe tomorrow. Yeah, it's tomorrow. Yeah, thank you, Aaron. It is tomorrow. So yeah, decent. They've done well. So if there's any team, I think it could be Forest, but I don't think Forest will do it. I think Rodgers will perform really good, says Ankur, potentially. Liverpool are the only top six team being doubted this summer. I think there are question marks over all except Arsenal right now. No, I said there are question marks over everyone. But I think you have more question marks because of the level of pressure, because you just won the league 2 seasons ago. If you make two or three, you're right now in a limbo where you could either do the right things and immediately challenge for the league, potentially win it, or you could stay where you are right now, where you do nothing and you could drop off. Whereas Chelsea only have to go up because they finished 10th last season and they definitely improved with the signings and the manager. United, even if they regress, it'll not be below fifth. So they'll still make Champions League. Spurs have nothing but improvement to look forward to because they finished 17th and they've made really good signings and they signed a top quality manager. So you are in a limbo where you could regress or you could go forward. We don't know, which is why the biggest question mark is Liverpool. But I'm not denying you could do really, really well. It depends. But I don't think you would do really well with the same team. If you don't sign a right winger, if you don't sign a right back, if you don't sign a DM, at least two of these three positions, I do think you'll struggle. Struggle meaning to challenge. Could you finish top four, top five? Of course you can. You can do finish top five even with this current team because you do have some top quality players. On paper, it looks very promising. Yes, I know. So I think your team on paper does look very promising. I still don't think you're ready to challenge for the league yet. I think maybe if you challenge, you might be there until March and then you'll drop off. But I do think you'll finish at least 10 points behind whoever wins the league, which might honestly is not bad, especially compared to last season. Especially if you finish third, that's definitely not bad. I have as fifth though. We need players. Yeah, there you go, Aaron. There you go. Like I'm not even that far from you, and I might even change my mind from sixth to fifth by the end of the window if you just signed even one player, not even two or three. Maybe one player might make me change my mind to put you guys up to fifth or fourth. Like one thing I do know is you probably will handle Champions League better than United because United are coming back there and they're not as used to playing in the Champions League as you guys did. You played last year, you played the season before. So I think you will handle Champions League and Premier League better than United probably. But in the sense that you might go further in the competition in the Champions League, maybe, or it won't cause as much burnout. But I do think they might slightly overperform in the league versus you. Sean, I don't doubt your team, bro. For me, you are ahead of United. Yeah, that's not a bad shout. I hear it honestly. By the way, so far in the predictions I've made, I wouldn't be shocked if anyone. Spurs is the only team I would be shocked if they finish above Chelsea, United, and Liverpool. But if United finish ahead of Chelsea or Liverpool, if Liverpool finish ahead of Chelsea or United, if Chelsea finish ahead of them, none of them would surprise me. What would surprise me is if one of these three clubs challenge for the league with the current teams as they are right now. That for me would be a bit of surprise. I'm not going to lie. Saeed and Hussam got married before United won 5 games in a row. That is mad. I didn't even think of it that way, to be honest. That is crazy, bro. That is crazy. It'll probably end this season. I mean, it has to because you're in multiple competitions, so it better. But yeah, Chelsea will destroy the smaller teams. Fair, maybe. I could see it being the opposite. I could see them struggling a little bit against the mid-table teams and doing better against the big teams because they'll play a different style, maybe. Yeah, big up. Cool. And then in second place, obviously I'll say second and first at the same time since you guys will obviously guess who I have first. I do have Arsenal finishing first right now, and I have City finishing second. I'll just discuss Arsenal quickly first before I go to why I don't have City winning the league, but why I do have them challenging. Arsenal, I think I have them first for obvious reasons. We are the defending champions. We're the favorites. Obviously, we have the best, in my opinion, the best keeper in the league just based on last season, the best defense in the league, the best midfield in the league, best defensive depth and midfield depth in the league. We don't have the best attack, obviously. I don't think our attack is as bad as some people make it seem. Like, I don't think we're 6th or 7th in the league for attack. I think we're probably, if we start Eze on the left, I think our attack is like the 3rd or 4th best. If we don't start Eze on the left, I think we could be 5th, maybe, but we could eventually perform better if some of the players that we have playing perform at a decent level. If Saka gets back to his level, if Odegaard gets back to his level, obviously we don't know. But I think the fact that we are the strongest in three of these four departments, for me, just puts us ahead, like clear ahead of everyone else. I don't think we'll walk the league because I don't think any team is at that level where they can just walk the league and we'll win it by like 15, 20 points or 10 points. I don't think that's going to happen. I think there will be challenge from City, which I'll come to now in a sec. But you look at our depth. Look, obviously, you look at our defensive depth. Saliba is out for 3-4 months, and we still probably have the best defense in the league with Gabriel and Timber, who will be back in 2-3 weeks, and obviously Calafiori and Hincapié, who can play left back. Mosquera is a decent backup. Ben White, I think, is a decent right back backup as well. We are looking at Konza and Kwanzaa both. I definitely don't want us to get the Liverpool Kwanzaa. I hope we get SD Konza instead as a backup. I think he'll be a decent backup for us, and he'll fill the boots of Saliba decent until Saliba's back, hopefully in like 2-3 months. He didn't do surgery, so I'm assuming he won't actually be out for 4 or 5 months, but we'll see what happens there. And then you look at our midfield depth. Look, I know people will say, okay, your 10s are not that great. Honestly, Eze is not bad. Eze is a decent 10. Odegaard, I think, is a decent 10. Yes, Aaron, I'm not monetized yet because I haven't streamed enough, to be honest. That's why. So I haven't hit the views limit, but hopefully I'll be a bit more regular now, so hopefully I'll get there soon. But big up, bro. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate even the intent. Look, I think, yes, we don't have the best 10. We don't have the second best 10 either because Shirky is also better than our 10s. But when you look at our double pivot, like Rice is for me the best DM in the league. Bruno is one of the best 8s in the league. If not the best, maybe there's an argument there. And then you look at the depth we have there. We have Zubamendi as backup, which I think could start for most Premier League teams. We have, what's his name? Big up Jack Swagger. Yes, guys, please hit the like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. We have Zubamendi as backup. We have Skelly as backup, who'll probably compete for a starting position. We have Merino as backup as well, who can start in multiple positions in the midfield, like as an 8, probably as an advanced 8 or a 10. He can start as a striker. I think he's our best striker, I'm not going to lie. And then we also have Odegaard and Eze competing for that 10 position. So our midfield depth is insane. Like, I think only Madrid probably have better midfield depth than us in Europe. So the fact that we are in this position is really, really good, and that puts us in a good place. And I think attack, look, Saka needs to get back to his best. He's only had one off season, which was last season. The season before, he had like 24 GA and 34 Premier League and Champions League games combined. So he's actually quite good. He just needs to get over last season's bad form. And I think if we play Eze on the left, then I think Eze is a very good left winger. I think he's better than most left wingers in the league. But Arteta has to be okay with some of his lack of defensive awareness, because Arteta wants left wingers who can also be fullbacks at times, which I think is a bit crazy. We are too good of a team to have to worry about our wingers not defending 99% of the time. And he does a lot of good work going forward, but I think we should just let him have some freedom. I'm not saying Yamal type of freedom or Mbappe type of freedom, but where we don't freaking penalize him for not tracking back every single minute. In which case we will have a decent wing as well. I'm not going to rule out Solis. You guys know my opinion on him. I've said that before. I don't think we should have signed him because I've had a feeling if we sign him, we don't end up signing a top quality left winger. Obviously, we did go for Vinny because Vinny is an opportunity you cannot say no to, no matter who you have. Like if Yamal is available tomorrow, I think we go for Yamal, even if we have Saka. And we probably figure out a way to play both of them together or something. But outside Vinny, look, we're not trying that hard for Barcola. We didn't try that hard for Yildiz. We haven't tried that hard for Mika Khutz, who was available and probably we could have convinced to join us because he would be a starter for us, because we got Solis, right? And we still have Martinelli, who we have not been able to offload because he doesn't want to go to Galatasaray. And I think if he did want to go to Galatasaray, I think then we would have pushed to get a left winger. But because he doesn't want to go, I think the club is like, listen, we have Martinelli, we have Solis, we have Eze who can play there. Let's not just get another left winger for the sake of it, and then we end up paying a lot of wages, which I understand as well. But I think at this point we need to figure out a way to push Martinelli out. I'm not saying release him because then we lose a lot of money, but just really put him out there for sale. Knock at the doors of all clubs and see if we can, even if we have to sell him at a loss of like, not loss, he's not going to be a loss, but even if we have to sell him at like 30 million, 35 million, It sucks, to be honest, but if it means getting rid of him and signing a top quality left winger, I would be okay with it. But at this point, who are you going to get? I don't know. Jesus is definitely going to leave 100%. I think no matter what happens, he's going to leave somewhere, probably to Napoli, where we offer to pay something just to get rid of his wages. But I don't think we get an attack if Jesus leaves, Marco. Because if Jesus leaves, you have Gyökeres and Havertz as strikers, and you have Merino who can play there. I think Arteta will think three is enough for me. I don't need a fourth striker. That's my concern. I think he gets an attacker if Martinelli leaves, because then he'll say, okay, I've got Eze and Zolis who can play left wing. Now I'll go get a striker or maybe a left winger. I don't know. But I don't think he gets. I have a feeling Jesus leaves and we don't get any attacker. I really don't think we get someone, but we'll see. Hopefully, I'm wrong. But yeah, that's why I have Arsenal finishing first. The reason I have City challenging, look, I think Rodri will leave. If Rodri stays, they definitely challenge 100%. And I wouldn't rule them out from winning the league. I still think we'd be favorites ahead of them, but slightly. I think they'll be right up there with us. If Rodri does leave, I think we will win. I think it'll be slightly easier to win without Rodri there, obviously. I think there'll be a slightly bigger gap. But I'm going to make a bold prediction, and you guys might be like, wow, really? I don't think they'll miss Rodri that much if he leaves. Even though it might sound contradictory to what I've said before, Rodri is a big loss. But I think Nico Gonzalez could really step up to Rodri's role. Genuinely. Remember years ago when it looked like Rodri was going to take over Fernandinho, and people and City fans were worried because Fernandinho was like the best DM they've ever had, and Rodri was a flop in his first season, the 2018-2019 season. He didn't have a good season at all. And then obviously now, few years later, Rodri shits all over Fernandinho. Like they don't even like look each other in the eye. Like Fernandinho buries his head in the sand when he sees Rodri coming. I'm not saying Nico Gonzalez will be as good as Rodri. He could be, but look, he's 24. He's a La Masia graduate, so he definitely knows how to play football really well and play at an intelligent level. He actually did really well for them last season to deputize for Rodri when he was not there. He's got the physicality. He's got the ball playing ability, the striking of the ball. I think he'll do really well for them. I think he'll do really, really well for them. I think if they just hone him, give him time, be patient with him, I think he'll step up to the plate. I think him and Elliot Anderson will be a very good pivot. I don't think he'll be as good as Rodri for them this coming season, because Rodri is Rodri for me right now. And Aaron, I completely hear you on that, bro. Rodri for me right now is in table one of midfielders. My table one is Zidane, Iniesta, Xavi, Modric. I'd probably put Busquets there. Maybe Pirlo. Rodri for me is table one, guaranteed right now. Guaranteed table one. And right now, in my opinion, he's one of the best midfielders to ever play in the Premier League. Yes, I know that the only thing he's done differently is the Spain stuff, but that counts for me in your legacy. If I have to think of who are the best midfielders who ever played in the Premier League, Rodri's definitely up there right now in the top 3, top 4 for me, because a Ballon d'Or winner during his time in the Premier League, Euros winner during his time in the Premier League, treble winner where he scored a Champions League winning goal in the final, 4-peat winner, that run of like 60, 65 games unbeaten with him playing, and a World Cup winner where he won Player of the Tournament. I don't think he should have won it. I think Messi should have won it, but it's not crazy for him to win it either, because he did have a fantastic tournament. Bruh, that is something that none of these other previous midfielders like Scholes, Gerrard, and Lampard can boast of. You say it's the weakest era, but it's not just about the weak era. Notes. He himself has done an amazing job. And by the way, you say weak era, but he played alongside KDB. He played alongside, obviously, okay, maybe midfielders, there weren't that many. But he's done a treble, bro. He's done a treble when he's gone up against the Madrid teams, against, obviously, they slapped up Madrid 4-0, who were defending champions at the time. He scored a banger against Bayern Munich, who were one of the favorites then. What else did he do? He obviously played against in the World Cup. Like, he's come up against like decent teams. In the Euros, he's come up against decent teams, against like the Frances with the Mbappes and all that stuff. I'm sorry, you can say it's weak era, but you can see his quality on the pitch, like the stuff he's doing. And when he's playing alongside great players, he doesn't look out of place. He looks like he is the main guy. He is the main cog. Um, and if now, I think his move to Barcelona, if it does happen, which I think it will, because I heard they put a 70 million bid recently, and I think eventually that it'll get accepted. I think at some point they'll settle at like 75 and he'll go. I think people, some people have been saying, oh, Rodri and Pedri will not work together because we saw it in the World Cup. That's the biggest load of waffle and crap. They both played together in the Euros a couple of years ago. And guess what? It worked fine. They looked incredible. They were fantastic. Pedri was the best player up until the round of 16. And then he got injured and missed the rest of the tournament. Rodri was fantastic as well. This nonsense is BS. It's because they had 2 bad games together, or Pedri didn't show up in the first 2 games. I don't think it had anything to do with, oh, they don't work together. That's BS. That's absolute garbage. And you're going to see it now in Barcelona. Oh, they both need to receive the ball. Okay, so do Bernardo Silva and Rodri. Bernardo Silva and Rodri both need to receive the ball. Gundogan and Rodri both needed to receive the ball. And yet they performed at a high level together. I think Pedri will work really well with Rodri. Pedri can also play more advanced. Remember, originally he used to play as a 10. And he was an elite 10. He was scoring goals and assisting and stuff. He can play even more advanced. And I think both are so intelligent and at a high level of intelligence. Probably 2 of the smartest footballers in the world right now. Probably, like, obviously after Messi. Messi's the most intelligent footballer, and he always will be. After Messi, I think these 2 probably are the 2 most intelligent footballers out there. You're telling me these 2 cannot make it work? That's just insane. I think going to Barca, he will lead them to their first Champions League in since 2015. Maybe not this season. Maybe this season or the season after. I'm not sure, because he's 30. He probably can go for another 3 years at a high level at Barcelona. Lewandowski went at like 34, 35 there, and he ended up winning 2 La Ligas with them. I think, and he's top 10 goal scorer for Barcelona in their history. I think Rodri will have an amazing career with Barcelona. I think he'll end up winning the Champions League with them. And then we cannot say era then, because it's easy to say era, but I think the quality of footballers now, I know it's going to sound crazy. I think it's more difficult to play in this era because everyone runs at a high level. Guys, Aaron and those of you who've been watching football, look, I'm not young. I wish I was, but I'm 35, right? I've watched football for so long. The spaces that footballers used to get 20 years ago, and if you don't believe me, just go. There are many games on YouTube. You can literally go open them, watch a game from 2005, 4, 3, 1997, 90. I started watching football in 1998. Obviously, Aaron has watched football way before me, and he'll tell you as well. Games were so much more open back then. You didn't have attackers tracking back like crazy. A lot of times it was attack versus defenders, right? There were massive gaps in the in the pitch that you don't have now. So when you say that, era was harder back then, no, I don't think so, because now all footballers have elite level of stamina and fitness, and they have to come up against others who also have elite stamina and fitness. You don't get that much time on the ball anymore when you're playing at the highest level, because players press like mad dogs from the beginning till the end, right? So the fact that he's done it in an era like this, I think it just he's at a high level. Exactly, Marco. It was 100% slower. I promise you, if you don't believe me, I'm telling you, just right now, go open a game from 2005 and watch the full match. Don't watch highlights. Watch the full match, and you're gonna go like, oh my god, why are they so slow? Why are they not moving the ball quick enough? Why are these guys not tracking back? Why are these people not pressing? Because that's how the game was back then, right? Now footballers, and it's common sense, it's in any sport, by the way. Now any athlete, because they start much younger, because technology has improved, because nutrition has improved, diet has improved, footballers have a lot more durability. That's why you see some footballers play at the age of 37, 38, 39 at a high level, versus that was unheard of back then. Henry retired from football at like 32, bro. Messi at 32 and Cristiano at 32 were having their best careers, right? Salah at 33, 34 was breaking records in the Premier League a couple of years ago. That didn't happen 20, 30 years ago, because players couldn't last that long, right? Players used to get so many injuries. Like Arnold used to get these long-term ACL injuries and the Achilles and all the injuries that he got that kept him out for a year. And he couldn't recover. He started gaining weight and stuff. Now you see Van Dijk getting an ACL injury, 2 years later, the best center back in the world. Timber, ACL injury, 2 years later, one of the best right backs in the world. Players bounce back a lot better now because technology has improved. So if anyone tells you, oh, it's a lot harder to play back then, it's not true. It's not true. Because now you play against physical beasts. It's no longer about, oh, let me see who's the smartest footballer who can do the best tricks. Now you have to be at such an insane level of fitness, right? To compete against other demons out there. That's the same thing with bro. I don't know how many of you guys watch tennis. I used to be a tennis fanatic. I don't watch it as much anymore, but I keep up with it like crazy. My favorite player of all time is Federer, but I do admit that the greatest of all time is Djokovic, because tennis is not like football, right? Where you can have other subjective opinions and add context because it's a team sport. Tennis is very clear. It's an individual sport. Who has the most trophies is the best. That's it. There's no, oh no, this style is better, that style's better. It's irrelevant. So Djokovic is the best without any question because he's got the most Grand Slams. So we don't even need to argue that. And his win rate against Nadal and win rate against Federer is mental. It's higher. So objectively, Djokovic is the greatest tennis player of all time. Fine. But watch a game between Djokovic and Federer 10 years ago, and watch a game between Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz and Alcaraz now. I promise you the game now is at a much higher level. These guys run more. The stuff they do is even better than what was done 10, 15 years ago. They already have like 5, 6 Grand Slams each, and they're both like below the age of 24 or something like that. They might not get to that. I actually think they will end up breaking some of these records that Djokovic has and all, because if they go to the next 10 years, there's no other player that looks like that's going to dethrone them. But you never know what's going to happen. But that's any sport, guys. Athletes now are conditioned a lot better because they start a lot younger. Anyways, we digressed. Back to the main thing. I think Nico Gonzalez will fill Rodri's boots in the long run, but in the short run, this coming season, he won't be as good as Rodri, but he will perform well to help them challenge for the league. I still don't think they beat us because I don't think they have enough quality to overtake us. Like when you compare the two teams, I think Arteta is a better coach than Maresca, even though Maresca has been decent for Chelsea. But I do think that's enough for them to be over Chelsea, over United, over Spurs, over Liverpool. But what do you guys think? Because, guys, I'm hearing a lot of disrespect for City, honestly. I'm hearing a lot of people say City might not even finish top 3. Don't you guys find that crazy? They have Haaland. They have the best attack in the league with Haaland, Semenyo, and Doku. They have the second best defense in the league, in my opinion. And by the way, their defense, I think, is slightly behind us. I don't think it's far behind us. Because they have Donnarumma, who's a good keeper. Excellent keeper. They have Gvardiol, Gehi, Matheus Nunes, who had an amazing season as a right back, and Nico O'Reilly as left back. And they have Kusanov and Diaz as backups. I think their team is amazing. So I don't know why people are saying they could not finish out. They might finish outside the top 3. Okay, we have 2 people saying they'll finish third, Kev and Marco. Guys, explain to me why. I only have them so high up because of players like Haaland. City will be good, but that extra sauce, that combo of Pep, Bernardo, Rodri provided is a big deal. 100%, which is why I don't think they'll win the league. But do you think they'll finish third because of that? So you're saying United and Chelsea have, who do you have finishing second, Marco? And Kev, you have United finishing above them. Does that mean you think your team is better than them right now? Because I think they have a better defense. I think they have a better midfield right now. Obviously, if Rodri leaves, that's a different question. But even if Rodri leaves, they have Elliot Anderson, Nico Gonzalez, Shirky, who's okay, not as good as Bruno, but he's quite good. Foden, who's a better backup than any of your backups. Who else do they have? Boadi will be a good backup if they get him. So if Boadi comes, he's a better backup than any DM backup. I think he's better than Andre Santos, in my opinion. As a backup, at least. And they have a better attack than you. And they definitely have a better defense. And I think they have a better keeper, even though Lamens is actually quite good. Pep was the main reason for them being great. No Silva and Rodri leaving, I think, play a big part. No, I'm going off what I believe will happen in the window. Fair enough. You think other things will happen in the window, like the players you will get and stuff. Fair. Olu says, at worst, they're the second best team in the league. I agree, Olu. I think at worst it's second best team. If Rodri stays, I swear I wouldn't be shocked if they win the league. I actually think if Rodri stays, and Arsenal fans would not like me saying this, if we don't get a quality attacker, I actually think they might win the league. I made my prediction yesterday assuming he's leaving. And assuming he's leaving. If he stays and we don't get an attacker, I wouldn't. I unless Maresca doesn't gel well with them, which is also a possibility. I think they could win the league. I don't have them winning the league because I do think they'll get. I don't think they'll keep Rodri. Or if they keep Rodri and we get an attacker, I think regardless, then we'll win the league because I think we're that much better. Then we will be better overall in other departments. I don't think Bernardo is that big of a loss for them, given that they're getting Elliot Anderson. I see him getting a lot of hate for his price tag. Understandable. Okay, that's quite a hefty price. But he's a top quality player, guys. He's quite press resistant. He's very good at winning the ball back. I think he had a stat last season where he was leading the league in a bunch of stats like interceptions, tackles, blah, blah, blah. Like he's good at winning the ball. He's good at carrying it forward. And just keeping the ball ticking and stuff. I actually think Elliot Anderson is a really good signing for them. I think people are hating on it just because he's English and he went for that kind of hefty price. He's not going to be another Jack Grealish. I think he'll work out. I just think it sucks that he's not going to play a season with Rodri at least, because that I think would have helped him tremendously. I also think I'm glad we got Bruno G because we hit two birds with one stone. Because us getting Bruno meant City doesn't get him, which is amazing for us because it meant we took away a player from City. And I think it strengthened our team as well, right? It strengthened our depth, it strengthened our quality. It gave us a player who can win the ball back, help players rest, and also create going forward. I think Bruno was the best available option in the market to replace Rodri. So I think you should have gone for him. But I do think Nico Gonzalez will step up to the plate. I think in the next 3-4 years, he'll do a fantastic job to fill up for Rodri. But next season, he won't fill it immediately, but I think he'll do a decent job. If Anderson and Boadi play, I think their midfield is too inexperienced and young to handle challenging the league. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that, Kev. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think they will play Nico Gonzalez. Marco says, my prediction, we win the league by 8 to 9 points, while second to fourth finish within 5 points between them. You know what? I don't hate that. I'm leaning towards that as well. I think we win the league by more than 5 points. I'm going to probably say, assuming Rodri leaves, I'll say we'll win by like 7 or 8 points. But I don't think it'll be 7 to 8 points like last season where it only went to 7 in the last 2 game weeks. I think it'll be 7 to 8 points like with 6-7 games to go. But again, we better not screw it up. Right now, Arsenal have a golden opportunity, which is strengthen your attack and you create a beautiful gap between us and the teams that are trying to, rebuild or start a new project or get a new manager, adapt to a new style, blah, blah, blah. It'll be a shame if we don't take advantage of this. Samson says, Ashraf, when are we going to talk about Eza? 17 games in the Prem last season where he created 0 chances, a whole season with only 19 chances created, ghosted when we needed him. This is why, Samson, I don't think he should be playing as a 10 for us. I think he'll be an amazing left winger for us. If I can guarantee that Eza will play left wing for us, I don't want us to get a left winger. It's fine. I'm happy to wait for Rodrigo next summer because Rodrigo will be back in January. So it'll give us a chance to see how well Rodrigo does when he comes back from injury and if he's able to continue playing at a decent level from an ACL injury. If he does, then immediately go and snap him up in the summer. My priority is get a striker right now, someone like Alvarez, which I don't think will happen because I think he's adamant on going to Barca, or go push and go all out to get Osimhen. I think Eze should play left. I don't think he should play as a 10. I think as a 10, he's decent. Don't get me wrong. I think the chance creation and all was just because we also were not playing that great overall. I think he flourishes more in an attacking system, which Arteta did not play last season. To be fair, I think that's also on the manager. But I think if we play more attacking this season, which is what a lot of people are saying Arteta's trying to do, I don't personally believe it, but hopefully that'll happen. Then I think Eze will work much better in the 10. But I think his best position for us would be the left wing. That is where he played in his last season for Palace, where he had a very good season. He's the best dribbler we have in the team. He can dribble in tight spaces. He can dribble in open spaces. He can cut and shoot on the outside. He can link up. He can cross well. So for me, he should be playing left wing. I think Bruno G is a better business than Tillemans. Look, I think Tillemans is better value for money because 35 million is insane. I do think Bruno is the better player, but slightly only. I don't think it's that big of a gap between them. I think it's a very small gap. And I don't think it's crazy for someone to say Tillemans is better either. Um, but anyways, I think both of our clubs got two very good players. Um, why does he always escape criticism? But it's always York, Odegaard, Noni, Deck, sometimes etc. cooked. Okay, I don't know who's cooking Declan Rice. If anyone is cooking Declan Rice, it's insane because he's our best footballer. And I think he should have won Player of the Season last year. It's not his job to get stats, and he performed week in, week out from start to finish. I think Bruno in the first 2-3 months was actually quite average, and then he picked it up later. Odegaard has got so much criticism. So again, I don't know what you're saying, Samson, because Odegaard, some people are saying he should have left. I'm saying he should leave and we should get a better playmaker. I would happily get Brahim Diaz as a 10 and replace Odegaard with him. Gyökeres also gets a lot of criticism, so I don't agree with that either. I don't think Gyökeres is a good enough striker. I think we made the right choice by signing him last season because he was the hottest prospect in the market last season after Isak, obviously. So I don't blame the club for signing him. Hindsight is always 2020, but now in hindsight, it obviously was a bad choice, and I think we should try to get rid eventually. I don't think he'll bounce back. I did say last summer that if you look at the top goal scorer of the Portuguese league in the last 20 years, every single one of them flopped outside Portugal. But I still thought Gyökeres would be the exception because he had like a lot of good attributes in him, and clearly he wasn't the exception. Clearly he continued being shit. I hope he bounces back this coming season, but I don't think it'll happen. Every time he plays football, I really pray and hope he does well. Big up, Sean, bro. Big up, Sean. As Sean says, hit the like button and subscribe, guys. Thank you so much, Sean. Big up, my bro. Guys, every time I watch him play, every time I watch Havertz play, even when I watch Jolis or Madueke, I pray they do something well. In my heart of heart, wallahi, I'm inside, I'm saying, please prove me wrong. Please do something amazing. Let me praise you. I'm not someone who hates for the sake of it. Look, I'm not going to try to call out names, but I'm not Lee Gunner. I'm not toxic for the sake of being toxic. At the same time, I'm not going to call out names now, but I'm not a toxic positive fan either. I am very realistic. I'll praise when there's praise that is due, or I'll criticize when there's criticism that's due. I don't do this dumb low IQ shit of, oh, why were you calling our players out? What do you mean? If our players do something bad, I will criticize them. If our players do something good, I will praise them. I don't get when people do this nonsense of, oh my God, I had an argument with someone, I'm not going to name him, big up to him, who said, well, you know, our manager and our coaching team really rate Madueke. So who should we listen to? The coaching staff or an armchair merchant fan who sits and watches games from his TV? What? What kind of stupid logic is this? So are you saying every manager out there is right 100% of the time and everything? So what happens if two managers disagree on something? Who's right then? What a stupid thing to say. There are fans who know better and make better calls and predictions than some expert footballers. Yes, that happens. You have to understand, anyone who's played football understands this. Where footballers are better than fans who've watched the game for decades is they know how to do things on the pitch better because it's repetition. If I'm a professional footballer, I know how to control a long ball 10 times out of 10 because I've done it out of repetition. I have the experience. I have the fitness that you don't have. I have the stamina that you don't have. I have the football experience that you don't have because I've been playing since the age of 11, 12. That doesn't mean I can sit and analyze a game better. And the evidence to that is we see pundits who played football professionally who go on TV and look like idiots when they analyze the games. And they get criticized and laughed at when they criticize the games. I don't understand when someone says, well, the manager and the coaching team think he's good enough to play for us. Who the hell are you? What kind of stupid logic is this? And that same guy, by the way, criticized Madueke last season and said, I hope we don't sign Madueke. So why didn't you just trust Arteta, who clearly wanted him? Why didn't you say, well, Arteta knows more than me. So if Arteta wanted him, then obviously Madueke must be a top quality player. Or if Tuchel called him to England, he must be a top quality player. What kind of dumb, low IQ opinion is that? That is so stupid. If you've been watching football for 10+ plus years, and in some cases, 25, 30 plus years for people like me, or 30, 40 plus years, 40 plus years for people like Aaron, not to show your age, Aaron, or 50 plus years, I don't know, pick up Aaron. I guarantee you Aaron can analyze the game better than most footballers right now. If he just has to sit and talk about which teams have the better squad, which teams have the better depth, which teams have better attackers or defenders, I guarantee you Aaron will know better because he's got way more experience watching games where you can actually analyze better. People suddenly think, oh, because you played football at a high level, oh, you definitely know better. I've spoken to professional footballers. I promise you I've spoken to professional footballers here because I play in a place here where a lot of professional footballers who even played in England, and they come and settle here and they play in this La Liga academy. And I've spoken to a few of them, and I promise you when you listen to them talk, we were having a debate once about the greatest strikers to ever play the game. And some of the comments that one person was making who played professionally, he never made it to the Premier League, but he played in the Championship and stuff. And I was like, bruh, like that's a dumbass opinion. And I, not because I disagreed with his opinion, I also disagreed with someone else who at least was making a logical opinion. Even though I disagreed with it, he was backing his opinion really well. Versus this guy was saying an opinion out of emotions with no common sense to it. Like Scholes. Yeah. Scholes saying Tonali's better than Declan Rice. How is that common sense? How is that common sense? Wayne Rooney saying, I never saw Neymar as a top player. How is that common sense? That lady, what's her name? Jill or something, saying Sadio Mane is better than Neymar. How is that common sense? She's a professional. How is that common sense? We need to stop saying that garbage. It's not, these guys don't always know how to analyze football that well. I don't care if this sounds cocky or arrogant. Yes, I know how to analyze football better than 90% of these pundits who come on TV because they spew garbage. Unless they intentionally say that stuff for clickbait to get views. Then fair enough. If I'm listening to an expert, ex-pro footballer speaking about the game or speaking about analyzing football, talk to me and tell me things that no one else would know outside you because you're an expert footballer. So you know when Henry does an analysis of why a player should have made that run, or when he says, Wenger once told me, do you expect Ljungberg to give you the same passes that Perez can give you or that Bergkamp can give you? And then Henry said, when I see Bergkamp, I know I can make Innis out of front and he'll find me. When I see Perez, I have to be in his line of vision or something like that. Remember when he was analyzing that? That's amazing analysis that no fan could speak about. Because that means you have to have experience to play the game to know that. That is what I want to hear. When I'm listening to an ex-pro, I want to hear that. This is why I love listening to Wenger. For those of you who've never heard Wenger, when it comes to analysis, when it comes to BN Sports and analyzes the game and stuff, is incredible. Then you hear, wow. I heard Mourinho once on BN Sports as well. Incredible. That's what I want to hear. That's what I'm like, oh, that's what makes them elite managers. That's something I would never be able to say as a fan. I don't hear it from Gary Neville and Roy Keane and sometimes Carragher. Carragher has good and bad days, to be honest. Wenger in his analysis, when he talks about, what happened in these tournaments is some of these teams were just too afraid to attack. A lot of these teams have fear of conceding more than they have fear of bravery to attack and score goals. And he broke it down really well. I was like, wow, that's refreshing. I don't know. What do you guys think? I actually want to read some of your comments. Maybe I'm just speaking out of my ass. Ash, be honest, City defense on paper is better than Arsenal man for man. We got crazy depth. No, you don't, bro. Come on. You don't have better depth than us. We have Saliba, Gabriel, Mosquera, and Hincapie as our depth defense. That's better than yours. We have Calafiori and Hincapie who can play left back. That's better than yours. You have Gvardiol. Oh, to be honest, your left backs are probably better. We have better right back depth in Timber and Ben White. So I'm sorry, bro. I don't disagree. But I just praised your depth. I praised your defensive depth. I said you have the second best defense, and I think you're very close to us. I don't even think that's that far. So I do think you have an amazing defense. Ash, you doing a watch along tomorrow? I probably will. Yes, I will be doing a watch along tomorrow for the Community Shield. I will be discussing it now next. Brother asked you to be honest and said, Robert, City's defense is not better. Yeah, exactly, Samson. It's a fair opinion. I don't mind it because they do have an amazing defense and very, very good depth. But I don't think it's better than ours, to be honest. But I think it's very close. Um, Carlo left Joao Pedro at home to take Thiago. That is criminal. Honestly, Carlo Ancelotti should be sacked just for that. It's insane. I don't take ex players seriously. Okay, so Aaron agrees with me. Yeah, I don't take most of them seriously. Honestly, like Scholes, 100% like Scholes. Aaron, ex players are selling a product. I swear, most of them can't be that stupid, bro. Some of them you can tell are rage baiting on purpose to get views. The ones that come and talk sport, the ones that do the overlap, you can tell they do it on purpose to get views and to get traction, which is disgusting for me because you've just lost your value for me as a pundit. I don't want to hear you anymore as a pundit because now I enjoy listening to fan content more than I enjoy listening to these guys because if I want the heated debates and the banter, there are YouTube content creators that do that. And I listen to them sometimes for the entertainment. But when I want proper football analysis, I'd rather listen to certain fan content than listening to these pundits. Some of the channels I listen to on a regular basis, and I think they have the best football discussions, the best football analysis, and these guys all know their football. They know their history, they know their knowledge. They don't do banter when they're doing the conversation. They actually analyze really well. They have heated debates sometimes, which is interesting because it's coming from a genuine place where they're actually giving very good points to back their arguments, whether you agree or disagree with them. And that's SDS, Sakira Sports. I don't know if you guys have watched. Obviously, you must have watched it. It's one of the biggest channels out there. Every single one of them knows football. They know how to analyze football. Starkey, Ilyas, Liban, Fuad, Faisal. I do think sometimes he waffles on purpose and stuff, and he comes with extreme opinions. But at least he has knowledge. Like he knows what happened in what era. And having knowledge and remembering what happened in the last 10, 50 years actually helps you formulate opinions now. Because then you have precedence. Then you can say, I think this team could do well because there was a similar team in a similar position 4 years ago. That's what happened with them. And I think these guys are in the same position, so this can happen to them again. That's a better evidence-backed opinion than speaking out of your ass and giving opinions out of feelings. So I would highly recommend, obviously you guys all know SDS, but for those who don't know or those who are living under a rock and haven't watched it, trust me, for football content, it's incredible. But yeah, definitely don't like listening to a lot of these pundits who just speak out of their ass. I don't listen to TalkSport anymore. I stopped. I'm still subscribed to them, but I never watch them now because it's just boring, regurgitated garbage. Yes, man for man, Man City better defenders are supplemented by attack-minded managers. I don't agree. I think man for man, I think Timber is better than Nunes. I think Saliba and Gabriel are better than any of your centre backs. I think Nico Riley is the best left back, but Calafiori is decent. I think Hincapié is a better backup than any of your backup defenders. Well, actually, no. I think Diaz is a better backup. Sorry, I take that back. But anyways, I'm not that mad at the take, but I don't agree. A lot of ex players are actually stupid. I do agree, guys. I'm gonna say this, and look, I swear I'm not discriminating against anyone. I'm not. Wallahi, I'm not. Right? There are a lot of people that don't have college degrees and are actually quite intelligent and end up becoming multi-millionaires because of their intelligence. But the fact that a lot of these footballers have not gone to college tells you that they're not the smartest cookie, which is fine. They don't have to be because this is their career. It's stupid for you to go to college if you have made it as a professional footballer. Focus on your career and hone your skills. But it's not crazy to say a lot of them are not the most intelligent. Lol City, but if you don't think so, good for you. But okay, Ash, look at cricket analysis night and day. I don't watch cricket, so I don't know, but I'll take your word for it, Aaron. Well, educated is a different thing. Fair enough. Rooney 1 makes sense. He said like Messi or CR7. No, Kev, I'm sorry. I'm not going to give him that cop out. He said, I've never seen him as a top player. And then he added by saying, like he couldn't reach the heights of Messi and Cristiano. But that's stupid because who did? Who could? Rooney started with Messi and Cristiano around the same age. He's around their same age. And he won the Young Player of the Year or Golden Ball, Child or Golden Ball or whatever that award is called. Golden Boy Award. And he couldn't last. He didn't continue with them. He actually had more reason to be in that level because he started with them and he didn't finish with them. They left him behind in dust. So it's stupid to say name Messi and if that is that the bar. Messi and Cristiano top. He said that to save his ass after. The reality is Neymar is an elite top level player, but he's behind Messi and Cristiano. There's no shame in that. That is stupid to say he's not a top player and then add to it like Messi and Cristiano level. So why didn't he jump in when Jill and the others were talking about Sadio Mane and Salah and all these guys? Why didn't he jump in and say, oh my God, are you guys crazy? Neymar is one of the greatest footballers to play in the last 10, 15, 20 years. Neymar is the greatest footballer to play football in the last 20 years after Messi and Cristiano, or at least top 5. Why didn't he say that? He didn't because he didn't think so. Yes, Ash, if you were offered big money to say Tonali is better than Rice, you would do it. Everyone would. No, Oqsim Billah, I wouldn't. On my life, there is no money you could pay me for me to be fake on YouTube or anywhere in public and not give my opinion. Guys, I love discussing football so much, which I know sounds ironic since I don't come and do it that often on my own channel. But wallahi, that's just time and work constraints, I swear. Because work does take a lot of my time. But you see, like when I come on the other channels and the discussions I have with my friends behind it, like offline, obviously outside YouTube, I love discussing football so much, but I hate dishonest conversations. I hate disingenuous conversations. You could never pay me any money to be there. This is why there are shows you would never see me on because I cannot go there and be fake. There are shows where I know I can go and do really well there and be consistently regular there. But I cannot go there because I have to be fake because the show requires me to be like, you man told me, oh, you said this player is going to do this. Oh, where? I cannot do that. I cannot go banter clubs for the sake of bantering clubs. When I criticize another club, whether it's Arsenal or any rival, you know I mean it because you know I genuinely think you've been crap and I say it. And I'll give you, and I'll always back any opinion I give with evidence and facts and then some sort of subjectivity, which is some of it is evidence-based, some of it is opinion, but I tell you why I have that opinion. I will never say this player is better than that player because I feel like it. I'll never say something that's stupid. You'll never catch me anywhere giving fake opinions or selling out, no matter what it is, I promise you. If someone tomorrow comes and tells me, Alhamdulillah, look, I'm not rich, but I do well enough for myself where I don't need to be paid big money to be fake and to do the one thing that I dislike. I have so much passion and love for football that you cannot buy me to speak nonsense and speak garbage. And I respect all the channels that I come on to. Nobody ever asks me to be fake. They tell me to be who I am, and I love it. I'd never ever fake to do that. Especially, by the way, you say that MCFC, but Scholes is already filthy rich. And he can probably start his own channel and make millions and millions by being honest and giving his own opinion. He doesn't need to be fake. He can literally go to BN Sports, and BN Sports don't ask any of their pundits to be. If you watch BN Sports analysis, none of them are fake. They all give actual proper analysis. It's proper punditry. BN Sports don't have this Talk Sport crap, and they will pay triple what Talk Sport and BBC and all the others and Sky Sports and all these other channels would pay. So and overlap and stuff. So I don't think that's an excuse for Scholes. I'm sorry. Neymar take was crazy. But I reckon the English just value passion merchants. Yeah, I guess that's why they don't do well in these tournaments. As what I would say is that watching football for a long time changes you. Playing competitive, even at lower levels, changes you. But yeah, coaches don't always get it right. Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of coaches get things wrong. And a lot of fans get things wrong. There's no shame in getting things wrong. Bro, I said Jimmy Gittins will work well for Chelsea. I'm not ashamed. I'll say, hey, that was wrong. He didn't fit in the Premier League. I said Wirtz will be a sensation in the Premier League. I got that wrong last season. He might show up this coming season, but I got that wrong. I don't know why people get embarrassed to say that they got something wrong. What's wrong in that? We're all fans. If we all could predict the future 10 times out of 10, we would all be freaking billionaires by now. We'd invest in the right stocks. These Man United pundits are toxic. Yeah, a lot of them are, to be honest. A lot of them spew out of their ass. Sky's cricket analysis is elite. Okay, fair. Again, I don't watch cricket, but I'll take your word for it. So fair enough. It's also not just in football. We also see old NBA players out here chatting shit. Yeah, honestly. There are some, look, I watch the NBA. There are some shows I used to, I stopped watching it the last 2 years, but I was watching it religiously until 2 years ago. I used to watch the First Things First and some other shows as well. And undisputed and all that. And sometimes you can tell they're saying shit for the sake of it, and sometimes they actually give you good analysis. The one thing I like about US American sports is that they use data and stats really well, to the point where, because they're data heavy, they can use data for every single thing that happens in the sport. Especially, let's say, with basketball, every single thing that happens has a data point, which is really good because that brings a lot of objectivity when you're actually comparing players. And the players who are actually top performers actually lead in the relevant stats, so it's not just fake shit. And I think football eventually is going to be there as well. um yes, SDS is really good. Yeah, they are really good, honestly. I think most of them are really good, and there's nice banter, but it's decent slight banter. It's not crazy banter where they just cook, let's just cook him, even if it means absolutely nothing. There are some shows out there where they just say brain dead stuff when that means absolutely nothing at all, to be honest, and it doesn't make any sense. um I'm open about calling Obi Mikel dumb. Yeah, Obi Mikel is clearly someone who's doing it on purpose to get fame and to become to have a crazy show. When he says dumb shit like what he said about Arsenal last season, it is stupid, right? It is obviously stupid, especially as a professional footballer, for you to say, "Oh, they don't. I will never acknowledge their league. They don't deserve to win the league." What are you doing? This is what I'm saying. You're a professional footballer and you're saying emotional dumb shit that even if a fan says it, we laugh at them, let alone a professional, ex-professional footballer. Anyways, to be frank though, Neymar was expected to reach that level. I think that's why. Yeah, he was expected to reach that level, but that doesn't mean he wasn't. Neymar, can I say this? Neymar is greater than any English footballer to ever play the game. He's also greater than 99 than every Premier League player to ever play the game. Maybe Henry is the only exception, and even then, I think it's a very close conversation between him and Henry. I think I can make arguments why Neymar is greater than Henry. By the way, I actually can. I promise you, Kev. And you know how much I love Henry. I'm an Arsenal fan. He's the greatest player to ever play for our club. He's the greatest ever Premier League player, and I can make strong arguments for why Neymar overall is a greater player than Henry. But I can also make arguments for Henry over Neymar. I don't think it's crazy. But Neymar, outside Henry, where there's a conversation, I think it's greater than any other player to play in the Premier League. I'm not counting Cristiano Ronaldo because obviously his best time came at Madrid. Remove Messi and Cristiano, they're the exceptions. So I don't think it's, yes, he could have been at that level. He didn't have their discipline and their hunger, but that doesn't mean he wasn't. That doesn't mean you mention names like Mane and shit like that. It's just so disrespectful. Wish Neymar never left Barca. I agree, he shouldn't have left. I think it was stupid. I think he regrets it. So you're indirectly saying Ahwa. No, I love Ahwa. By the way, Ahwa, Hussam says it. Hussam doesn't do fake marketing. Hussam has shows, and I used to be on those shows back then. Obviously, we changed them because the timing didn't work, and we started doing the Mo show on Wednesday. But Hussam has shows where it's football opinions, discussions, and all that stuff, which I love, right? But Hussam does Al Ahwa, and he says Al Ahwa is a cooking show. Someone super chatted once and said, "Oh, banter or blah blah blah. Why are we only doing banter? Why can't we have logical conversations?" And Hussam responded saying, "You're coming to Al Ahwa and expecting a logical conversation. To this show, sometimes we have logical conversations, but it's about cooking and banter." He says it. That's his marketing gimmick for the Ahwa show. Now, if Hussam only did Ahwa type of shows, I don't think he would have been as successful as he is now. And he himself would not enjoy it because Hussam is very, very good at football conversations. He is someone whose opinions I respect in football. He is someone just like the SDS guys who knows his history, who knows his football, who can have good discussions, who can have good conversations and back his opinions. Yes, sometimes he does come with shameless opinions, especially when it comes to Liverpool. But a lot of times he makes very good opinions and he backs them up well. Whether you agree with him or disagree, but he still has very good, intelligent football debates. That's why I think it's disrespectful to even think that Hussam's Hussam's what's the word I'm looking for? Persona as a YouTuber is a banter show. He has Al Ahwa and he had Football Wars obviously when back in Twitter Spaces, but that's a thing that he also likes to do. He has both sides, but a lot of the shows he has, like the Liverpool talk shows, the ones he does with his I forgot the show name, with like Dayo, Flawless, and Jay and all these guys. The one he does with like some other panelists as well. These are good football shows where he has good discussions. Al Ahwa, And I listen to every Al Ahwa, I promise you. I enjoy it because there are times, as I told you guys, I want to listen to entertainment. Sam provides that with Al Ahwa, but he also gives you a lot of shows that is balanced with football, nice discussions. Um, so definitely, I promise you, I don't mean Al Ahwa. But there are channels, without naming them, that only do cooking and only do banter, nothing else. Nothing else. Every stream is an agenda driven thing where it's about cooking someone else. And I'm not a fan of that. But I don't blame them if they're doing it to make money because some people like that stuff and they super chat quite a lot. It rage baits people, so they end up paying for it and stuff like that. I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not going to lie. I respect that, Ash. Big up, MCFC Poppy. Big up, Ash still alive. Yes, big up, Sad, my bro. But Sad, let me know if you want to jump on. If you're free, I'll happily send you the link. I am because I was supposed to preview the game from so long. I haven't done that. But the conversations you guys have been I've been having with you guys is amazing. So it just kept going. Ash, are you willing to have offline chats at times on football? There are moments where I'd love to debate you. Oh, bro, I'd love it, Kev. Bro, Kev, I promise you, sometimes I'll call. Maybe this is not the best example, but because he's here where I am in the same country, and he is shameless 90% of the times on YouTube, but sometimes outside the shamelessness, he can have good debates without being shameless, and that is Souls. You know the guy, the Kurapot Souls. Sometimes I'll call him and we are talking on the phone for like an hour and a half, just football, and debating certain things. But yeah, like a lot of times he ends up being shameless and he does. Sometimes he gets into his shameless hat as well, in which case I'm like, bruh, it's going nowhere. He was an Arsenal fan as a kid because of Kanu. Obi Mikel. Oh, was he? Oh, I didn't even know that. Sheesh. I didn't even know that. Okay, fairs. A-listers. Oh, A-listers. Yes, that's a show. Yeah, I like A-listers. Yes, I like A-listers. I listen to the Liverpool show as well. Obviously, these guys don't agree all the time. Him, Cal, Tom. I forgot the other guy's name. Matt. I don't want to disrespect him or anything. I think Matt is his name. They disagree on a lot of things, but they're all coming with like good debates, good opinions. Whoever you agree or disagree with, it doesn't really matter as long as you're having a good debate. So I love it. Most shows obviously are good as well. Obviously, you do have some shameless people like Touchline and stuff who come up with like crazy stuff, but a lot of times the discussions they have are amazing. Big up to Catch Up as well. When they have when Catch Up has an all like Arsenal panel, for example, I always listen to them because it's good debates. They had a couple of days ago. When the Catch and the guys have the other fans come in, 90% of the show is them attacking Arsenal. And trust me, I criticize our club on things that deserve criticism, but I will not criticize our club for no reason. And the way it works is it's just them ganging up on SB and Catch and attacking Arsenal on silly, stupid things. And I'm like, bruh, really? But when they do like an all Arsenal panel show, for example, it's really good debates and good discussions, stuff like that. I'm crapping my pants for the season. A window of Zolis, Melier, and Kwanzaa is dark and not what Arteta asked for post UCL final. SC. I'm gonna say this, bro. First of all, Bruno, you forgot Bruno. Bruno's a fantastic signing, and we haven't signed Kwanzaa, so let's wait. Please, let's stop saying, "Oh, it's not what Arteta asked for." Blah blah blah. We need to stop doing this, bro. Arteta deserves a lot of credit. Arteta is the best coach in the league. I apologized to Arteta last season, obviously on the show, not directly to him because he doesn't know me and I don't think he gives a shit. I apologize because I said I don't think he's good enough to win us the league, and he did win us the league. So I was wrong, and I happily apologize for that. I was happy to be wrong about that. But can we please stop saying this nonsense of, oh, this is not Arteta promise, as if he's being let down? If Arteta today says, Gyökeres and Havertz, you are not in my plan. Bye-bye. One of you are definitely leaving. And he tells Berta, I want Osimhen. Make it happen. I don't care about anyone else. They will go sign Osimhen. They will pay 120 million to bring him. We need to stop saying that. If Arteta said, hey, okay, we couldn't get Vinny Jr., but thank you for trying. We did our best. Great. Go get me Mika Chutz, or go get me Yildiz, or go get me I don't know, Barcola, even though I don't rate him, but let's say that's who Arteta wanted, they would have gone and put the money down, because he's not just a coach, he's a manager. He has a say, and the board clearly respect him and trust him to act on his words. There's been enough reports and evidence to show that Arteta has vetoed decisions that the board was willing to make because he said, no, I don't think this makes sense. Let's not do it. And they didn't end up doing it. So we need to stop saying that. We need to stop insinuating that Arteta's being let down or something. I know that's not what you said verbatim, but it sounded like you're saying it's not what Arteta asked for post UCL, as if he's being let down. He's not pushing. If he says, give me Osimhen, I need Osimhen now, I don't have space for Gyökeres. Is money the issue? Get rid of Havertz. Havertz 285k. Let's sell him. I don't want Havertz anymore. Buy Havertz. Lots of top clubs will sign Havertz right now. We would sell Havertz and we would get Osimhen. But he wants Havertz. He liked Martinelli. He doesn't mind keeping. He probably wants to get rid of Martinelli, but not that much. He's like, bro, I don't mind him because I can use him. Because if Martinelli stays, he will use him like crazy. A player that Arteta doesn't want is someone who will be here next season. He will barely play games. Like Waneri, for example, to the point where he had to loan him. That's a player who I can say Arteta wants to get rid of this guy because he doesn't want him. So we cannot keep saying this. We're losing Waneri, who's a better right winger backup for Saka than Madueke, because Arteta wants Madueke. And I'm not trying to shit on Arteta, but I'm saying he also takes blame for the signings that we're not making in attack. But he also deserves credit for the signings we've made in defense. He deserves credit for Bruno Guimaraes. If Solis bangs, he deserves credit for that because he's playing him, he's giving him game time. He probably approved the decision as well when the scouts brought his name up to him. So the ones that bang, he deserves credit for. The ones that flop, especially the fact that the attackers we don't end up signing, he deserves criticism for it because he's not pushing for these and he's trusting his attackers that are not good enough. Kupra saying big up Ash from Malaga. Oh, big up from Malaga, Marbella. Big up, Kupra. On holiday, we will win the EPL. We need a right winger. United today shit. Fairs. Arteta has full control. Yeah, I think I don't think he has full control in the sense that he can also decide the price tag. No, but he has full control where he says, if he says, I want this player, please make it happen no matter what it is, they will make it happen no matter what it is. Like if he says, I do not want to start the season without Osimhen, that's a deal breaker for me. Get rid of Havertz, get me Osimhen. I promise you they make it happen. 100%. They go to Galatasaray, how much do you want? They will even go up to pay 130 million. Yeah, but the issue is he has to convince the club that it's worth the money. I don't think so. I disagree. If he tells the club I want this player for 130 million, they will pay because they trust him. He's earned that. He's earned that trust, to be fair. He deserves to get that trust. I don't have an issue with that. But he's not using that privilege. He's using that privilege in the wrong way. He's using that privilege to sign Madueke. He's using that privilege to sign Havertz and let the club pay him 285k. He's using that privilege to keep Gyökeres. He's using that privilege to keep Martinelli. He's using that privilege to re-sign Eddie Nketiah from a few years ago. I don't think he's using his privilege correctly, in my opinion. Madueke is the worst signing we've made. It's insane. I never thought the Havertz bad signing would be topped. And we went and topped it 2 years later with Madueke. And for some reason, he likes him. Why? What does he do? Oh, he takes on his man. Waneri takes on his man better. But at least Waneri doesn't overrun it outside the pitch. Waneri at least scores. He's a good finisher. Arteta said so himself. Arteta said he's so good at finishing, he can see him play striker. He's a better shooter from outside the box. He's better at chance creation. I'm getting rattled for no reason. I don't know why I brought up Madueke. Now my throat is going to go. And this stupid Coke Zero. I shouldn't be drinking this either, but at least it's a Coke Zero. Anyways, look, I don't want to stay for too long. I just need to preview the game for tomorrow. Honestly, I won't spend that much time on it because it's Community Shield. I don't think the clubs take it as seriously, given the fact that we won't have our starters playing, and they won't have all the starters playing. And bro, this country needs, England needs to stop calling it the Community Shield, please. Even if you're contributing the money to charity, just call it the English Super Cup. Give it a better name, raise more money, go play it somewhere else if you have to, if you want to get more money from fans and stuff, and then give all the proceeds to charity. That's fine. But elevate its status. In every other country, it's called the Super Cup and it's given more importance. Only in England, it's treated like a piece of shit. Um, um, but anyways, well, we disagree there because I don't think he has the privilege to pick whoever he wants this window. Open checkbook. I never said open checkbook. Osimhen is not open checkbook. Osimhen is 110, 120 million max. And probably from wages, we'll probably have to pay him 300, 320, 330. That's fine. He's a proven Serie A winner. He deserves to get that kind of money. He's a Champions League proven player as well. Not that he won it, but he's played in the Champions League a couple of years and scored and played well there. I'm not saying open checkbook. They will pay that kind of money. They've paid 105 million for Declan Rice because he really wanted Declan Rice. They gave Havertz a 285k wage. They gave Jesus 250k. They gave Martinelli 180k. Zinchenko 150. What are we on about? Nobody's saying open checkbook. And we will not get Osimhen for 140. They bought him for 70. They will want to recoup most of that money, if not more. So 100 million, they will actually listen to us, I promise you. I even read a report that said they want to recoup at least their 70 million. So if we give them 80, 90 million, I think they will listen to the offer. And he will push for a move, I guarantee you. As long as we pay him his wage. He said 2 years ago his dream is to play in the Premier League. He will 100% push for the league. For the move, I mean. Anyways, I'm just going to see if there's any quick news or quick update. I don't think there is, otherwise you guys would have informed me. But I'm going to see if there's any quick update before I go to the City Arsenal game. There doesn't seem to be any, to be honest. Anyways. Yeah, look, about the Community Shield tomorrow. I'll start with my predicted lineup that I think we'll go with. I think we'll start David Raya. The fact that he played the last game in the second half and obviously played the penalties as well, I think it means he would have had enough time, enough minutes to start this game. And he's a keeper anyway, so keepers don't need to play a whole 90 minutes before they're ready. I think our back four will be Ben White, Mosquera, Gabriel, and Calafiori. I don't think he'll start Hincapié this game because he saw Hincapié play against them last season, and I don't think it went that well. So I do think he starts Calafiori. Obviously, if Ben White is not available, then it will be interesting, actually. If Ben White is not available for whatever reason, big up Dio. Big up Dio, my man. If Ben White is not available, I can see him play Mosquera right back, and then potentially playing Hincapié and Gabriel center back. I know both left-footed, but I think he might consider doing that. Or he might play Salmon. He might say, screw it, just go with the young kid. Play Salmon right back. And he might play Salmon right back, center back. I don't know. Play Mosquera right back. I'm not sure. But I'm hoping Ben White will be there. I think he'll try to push him to be there as well. I think he'll play Bruno, Kelly, and Odegaard in the midfield. Bruno obviously played the last game, so he'll definitely be ready to play this game. And I think he'll start a front three of Zolis, who was fit and available for all our preseason games. I think he'll play Dauman, who also was fit and available for all our preseason games, because he won't start Saka, obviously, who's just back now. And I don't think he'll start Madueke after Madueke was just back last game and played only like 20 minutes. God forbid he starts Madueke. Look at the penalty he missed. He missed the penalty in the last year preseason, and then he missed the penalty again. Now he's so shit at it. Thank God he didn't take the Champions League final penalty. Not that it mattered, we lost anyways. But I think he'll start Dauman on the right, Zolis on the left, because I don't think he starts Eze now. I think he'll probably want to bring Eze off the bench along with Saka and Rice. And I think he starts. Honestly, I don't give a shit who he starts between Gyökeres and Havertz. If I had to guess, I'll probably say, he might start Havertz because he prefers Havertz in the big games, especially against City. Even though I don't think it works. Like Havertz scored against City in the league, but from a Donnarumma mistake, not because he did well. And he missed sitters against City in the league and in the Carabao Cup final. If I were him, I would actually start Gyökeres and try something different. especially with Solis and Dowman, because they create chances. But I'm assuming he'll start Havertz up top. Um, and I think City will probably go with Donnarumma. I think they'll start a good back four in maybe Nico O'Reilly, Gvardiol. I don't know if Gehi's back, but if he's not, then they'll probably start. Um, Maybe Nico O'Reilly won't be back either. Who knows? In which case, they might start Ait Nouri, Gvardiol, Diaz probably, and right back they might start Matheus Nunes or Kusanov. I don't know. If they're scared of pace, they'll start Kusanov, but I don't see why they'd be worried of pace because I don't think Martinelli starts. And then midfield, they'll probably start Elliot Anderson if he's there. Nico Gonzalez definitely will play. Um, I'm assuming Foden. I don't think Sergey is back in enough time. I don't think Haaland starts. He probably will be on the bench. They might start Marmoush up top and then Doko and Semenyo. So I think maybe Foden might start somewhere as well. So yeah, I mean, both teams will be missing some players. Obviously, we are missing more from our starting 11 because Declan Rice, Saka, Eze will all not start. Saliba and Timber will not play at all. So that's 5 starters from our 11 that won't be starting. And 2 of them will not even be there at all. I actually think City win this tomorrow. Honestly, I wouldn't. I'd edge it to them because I think they'd want it more. I think they'll want to take revenge for us winning the league. Um, they've had a better preseason, which I think will carry on to this, especially since we probably will not want to get any injuries. So I don't think we'll go all crazy. Um, um, but look, it could go either way. Honestly, I'm not even that. I'm not even that sure. Like I say, City. Maybe I'm being a bit pessimistic because yeah, we've not had a great preseason. But in a game like this, I think our players will be a bit more fired up. Um, and tomorrow we're going to probably see a better midfield than what we've seen in the previous games, which will be a bit more solid. Zubimendi is back as well; he'll be on the bench. Um, so, yeah, you know what? Maybe we would win. People are saying, Community Shield curse. Oh, I don't give a shit about that. I don't believe that garbage. City won the Community Shield and won the league, I think, in 2019, if I'm not wrong. So we can easily break that. Liverpool didn't win the Community Shield last season, and everyone is like, oh, well, we at least didn't get cursed. Now we're winning the league for sure. And they lost the league. They lost the league badly. Obviously, Crystal Palace didn't go to win it, but they were never going to win it. But they won the Conference League. I don't think that superstitious shit is true in my opinion. So yeah, if we can win it tomorrow, go win it. Then we'll do that. Then we can do the shameless thing, which works in some shows. Like, oh, Pep calls it a serious trophy. Pep counts it in his trophy cabinet. So we'll count it in Arteta's trophy cabinet, but obviously it doesn't mean anything to the league season. I think we win the league, obviously, regardless of what happens tomorrow. Even if we lose 3-0 tomorrow, I still think we win the league. But I mean, hopefully we win it. And if we win it, at least it gives us the confidence to start a lot better against Coventry. And I do hope Rice, Saka, and Zubimendi get some minutes because I want us to start a better team against Coventry on the first day. We need to start a very, very strong lineup. And I don't want us to scrape a win against Coventry like 1-0 and we're struggling because sometimes that brings down the confidence of the team for the next few games. And our second and third league games are very difficult. So we need to start strong. If we can give them a nice 3-4-0 slapping, it'll boost our players' confidence and mentality for the game against Villa the week after. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm calling it a Super Cup final if we win it, and dinner plate if we lose. Yes, SC doing the shameless thing. Why not, bro? Run it, because you know the opposite is also going to happen anyways. Rivals, if we win it, are going to say, "Bruh, it's a Community Shield. What are you on about? Why are you taking it seriously?" And if we lose, they're going to be like, you're making excuses. You couldn't beat City 3 games in a row, blah, blah, blah. They're going to do that garbage. Look, for me, whether we win it or we lose it, I'm going to say the same thing. I don't think it's that important. I don't rate it. Same with the Carabao Cup. Whether we win it or lose it, I don't rate it. If we win, I'll celebrate it. I'll be happy. Yes, we won. And if we lose, of course, I'll be upset that we lost because I don't like my team losing any game. Even a preseason game, we lost to Dortmund and Betis, and I was upset because I don't want us to lose. But I don't think it matters to the season, and I don't rate these two competitions. What's Arteta's record versus Maresca? Well, he's unbeaten against Maresca. He's lost no games at all. He's let's see, 24-25, which was Maresca's first season. Um we drew with them at the bridge and we beat them at the Emirates. And then 25-26, we drew with them at the bridge, the 1-1, which they claim to be a victory, I guess. And then he got sacked, or he left, whichever one. So technically, we played them what, 3 times? We won 1 and drew 2. So yeah, we're unbeaten against them. But the 2 draws were at their ground, obviously. And tomorrow it's like almost like a home advantage because we obviously have 75% of the stadium. At least that's what I read last time. Villa are without Maggio and Joao Gomez, and after the summer break they had, we must win at Villa Park. Yeah, I agree. No excuse to not win against Villa. No excuse to not beat Chelsea at the Emirates in the third game. 100%. Big up Zier, by the way, as well. Zier in the building. Zier, what do you think of Bayern's chances in the Champions League next season? Where do you rank Bayern in the top 5? I am going to do a Champions League video, guys. I think it's going to be very interesting, very exciting. That's going to be my next video. I definitely cannot do it tomorrow because I have to do the watch along tomorrow probably. So what I will do is I'll probably do it on. I might do it on a Tuesday. I might do it on a Tuesday. Or I might. Should I wait till the draw is done? When is the Champions League draw? Does anyone know? When is the CL draw? Oh, they're still playing the playoffs now. Okay, so we'll have to wait. Mm, 27 August. I might do it after that, to be honest, just so we can see the teams, know who's going to play against whom, because that might make a difference. Actually, to be honest, I don't think it'll make that much of a difference. You know what? I'll do it before, and then I'll do predictions after. So yeah, I'll do a top 5 list for the Champions League next. I'll try to do it midweek, so watch out for that. Where we'll discuss which team has the better chance, which team is top, which team is second, third, fourth, and fifth, and who I think will end up winning it. It's in Cardiff. Yeah, it is in Cardiff. The Community Shield, because of some double booking. What is the double booking? I think the other game, was it the Women's World Cup or something? I love Google AI. Just quick search. Why is the Charity Shield, wait, what the hell, not at Wembley? Why is this not loaded, bro? Okay. Wembley Stadium is booked for a multi-night concert run. Shifts to the football calendar pushed back due to the World Cup. Concert bookings, The Weeknd, the artist, The Weeknd, booked Wembley Stadium for his tour from August 14 to August 19. Who gives a crap about The Weeknd? You're saying that takes precedence. You're saying that takes precedence over a football game. That's how shit the Community Shield is rated in England. That they couldn't even book its main game, a game that's well known to be played every season, no matter what happens, is being thrown to the side for a concert by The Weeknd. Just so people can go there and sing what I forgot. I haven't forgot his stupid song. I feel it coming, that song. I don't know why that song was stuck in my head. Or Blinding Lights or some shit like that. What's wrong with this? Oh my god. You man need to fix up in England, bro. You need to fix up, bro. I just love laughing at you delusional bumps. You're not that important. Marco and iNotes are having their usual beef. Marco and iNotes are always beefing each other, bro. This is some high level entertainment shit. Oh my god, I can't believe it's 12 a.m. for me. I've streamed for that long. Yeah, look, it was exciting to be fair. You guys have made it really nice. Big up to all of you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I promise you, I will work so much harder to be regular as much as I can, as much as work allows. The thing is, I play football 3 times a week. I have like daddy daughter dates twice a week, just me and her. So that already takes like 5 days of the week for me. And now I'm also playing like football every Saturday morning, so it's taking a lot of time. But I'll definitely make time to at least do two videos, 2 shows a week. And now with football back, we'll have a lot of things to discuss anyway. So big up to everyone. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Big up. Thank you guys so much. This was an amazing stream, and I'll catch you guys on. Yes, I do play more games than Man United. Nice one, Football Heritage. Big up, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.